The moment he got back to the day before the apocalypse, he grabbed a cleaver and made the cows his first priority. None of them were making it to tomorrow. For years, those cows had been the family's pride and paycheck. Locals stared in shock, whispering like gossip machines. Clearly, he'd lost his mind. His ex chimed in with a smirk, reminding everyone he couldn't even cover her dowry with a meat sale. She casually dropped the bomb, new guy loaded and way less, cow-obsessed. He cut her off mid-gloat with a glare and turned back to the slaughter. Time was short, and none of them knew what was coming. The apocalypse wasn't kicking off with humans, it was hoofed horror first. The cows would go feral, eyes glowing, tearing through anything that moved. Then came the humans. One bite, one sneeze, and a month later, game over. Last time he'd watched it all fall apart, family, farm, everything. This time he wasn't just surviving, he was rewriting the script. His parents stormed in, wide-eyed and breathless. His dad launched into full-on crisis mode, shouting, gesturing, trying to make sense of the carnage. At the sound of their voices, he froze. The knife hit the dirt with a dull thud. He lunged forward and pulled them into a hug like it had been years, not hours. His eyes stung, heart thumped. This moment felt like a second chance. The promise was silent but carved deep. No one was dying on his watch again. They exchanged glances, concerned, confused, and maybe a little scared. But he wasn't slowing down. With urgency in every breath, he begged them to move fast, kill, sell, survive. After a long stare, his dad gave a small nod, trust outweighing logic. The village's only graduate wasn't known for drama. This had to mean something. Mom sighed, rolled up her sleeves, and got to work. No questions, just grit. The villagers gawked. The family hadn't just cracked, they'd shattered. He checked the time again. Countdown to chaos was ticking fast. He called out to the crowd, offering quick cash for cattle butchering. 3 spots, fast hands, and no questions. Instantly, the lounging crew sprang to life, elbowing for a cut of the cash cow. Zhou didn't hesitate, dialed the butcher, slashed prices, and moved the meat. No credit, no delay. His folks stood by, hearts sinking as years of care got diced and priced by noon. Zhou gave no speech, just stuffed the bills into his pocket and hit the road. Before taking off, he gave one firm instruction: doors shut, ears closed, no exceptions. With that, he jumped in the truck and vanished in a trail of dust. First mission: raid the hardware store for anything vaguely defensive. Next, the pharmacy, aisles emptied like a one-man panic buyer's dream. Still, one item topped his list: gunpowder, the apocalypse essential. He figured early doomsday math: firepower equals power, period. Cash in hand, he headed to a fireworks factory with a suspiciously quiet backyard. Turns out, the back room packed more bang than birthday sparklers. Bonus twist, the boss was Lin Ji, former flame thief and current powder kingpin. Zhou Zhuo stormed in, cash bag first, no greetings necessary. Lin Ji sized him up and cracked a smug laugh. Old flames, old wounds. He tossed jabs like grenades, dory jokes and powder puns included. Zhou stayed stone-faced. No drama, just deals. He wanted the whole stash. He demanded it all. Lin Ji's smirk faded fast, replaced by corporate disclaimers. Zhou dropped a cryptic clue, just enough to make the air colder. Lin Ji paled, sweat catching up to his nerves. After a beat too long, he caved. Lai Qin got the keys. As Zhou walked out, Lin Ji leaned back with a frostbitten chuckle. Malice flashed in his eyes. Secrets don't stay secret, and loose ends don't stay breathing. Back home, Zhou unloaded gear and hollered for backup, family style. His brother dropped a bomb, little sis was still in town, and time was running out. Zhou froze. This wasn't how it played out before. Something had shifted, and the clock was down to 30 minutes. He didn't wait for questions, just hit the ignition and tore down the road. A quick shout over his shoulder. Stay inside, no matter the noise, no matter the panic. Tires shrieked as he floored it. Target locked. Her school! Day 1 outbreak started with pets, but once it hit a school, chaos was guaranteed. The truck lurched hard, definitely not a pothole. He slammed the brakes and jumped out, instincts in full throttle. On the road, one twitching, red-eyed, ooze-fanged dog. The outbreak wasn't coming, it was here. Meanwhile, Zhou's cattle massacre hit the rumor mill at Shanghai like wildfire. And just like that, Zhang became the campus weirdo of the week. Li Xiaoyao saw her silence, and took it as a green light to bully harder. She waved her phone like a mic, dragging Zhang's family name through every muddy puddle. Zhou Ying had enough. One desk slam later, the phone was airborne. The teacher walked in, saw the scene, and claimed the phone like a silent referee. After class cleanup turned into a setup, Li Xiaoyao was waiting. A shove, a flash of steel. Revenge over a phone was about to go full psycho. Then her body locked up, twitching wildly. Cue the black blood fountain. She hit the floor, drowning in a mess of screams and bile. Zhou Ying bolted, scream first, reason later. The school had cracked. Screams, crashes, and terror echoed from every hallway. Her brain struggled to catch up as reality sprinted ahead. Then came the classmate, eyes bulging, mouth mangled, and no pulse in sight. She dropped like a stone, too frozen to even scream. Lucky break, the lurching zombie face-planted with a crunchy thud. Li Xiaoya stumbled into view, now fully zombified and clearly not here for a study session. Her limbs jerked at odd angles, that unsettling grin promising zero good news. With a screech that shattered nerves, she bolted straight for Jiaying, just as disaster had its arms outstretched. Zhou Zhuo swooped in like an action movie trailer, launching a kick that sent the zombie tumbling through glass and indignity. No pause, no breath. Zhou Zhuo moved. One smooth motion and the blade was out, gleaming with purpose. Steel flashed, and the undead hit the ground before gravity finished its job. Turning, he found Zhou Ying shaken, tears trying to mask themselves as jokes. He raised a brow, clearly implying her screams might have echoed into space. Around them, chaos had gone full volume. This school was officially lost. He grabbed her hand, urgency shouting louder than words as they bolted toward the lot. In the car, Zhou Ying offered a trembling smile, like a bad take from a horror flick. Zhou Zhuo glanced over, the act fooling exactly no one. His expression softened, permission granted, tears allowed in this apocalypse. At least back home the rest of the family was safe for now. Zhou Ying's lips twitched into something resembling a smile. Meanwhile, the village wore peace like a costume, with trouble plotting backstage. They reached home, counted heads, and Zhou Zhuo nodded, relief brief but real. He stood still for a beat, then turned. Something, or someone, was calling. His mother braced for a no, but Jia Ying cut in first. Her voice steady, she made it clear he needed to go. The girl who once ran from monsters now saw one thing plainly. Her brother had changed. Something inside Zhou Zhuo stirred, chaotic, electric, undeniably new. Wild and untrained but brimming with potential, it surged, waiting to be shaped. Memories flickered, one ghost-like fighter who once danced through the undead like it was choreography. If that legend still breathed, teaming up would be a game-changer. Back at the village committee, Xie Bingbing braced the door, convinced it was just mass hysteria, not a zombie headline. Then, crack! A ghastly hand punched through wood like it owed it money. Moments later, blood-slick corpses crashed the party, claws first, manners last. The officials stood like broken statues, all fight swapped for fright. As panic peaked, the window gave way to unexpected reinforcements. Zhou Zhuo dove in, steel flashing, zombies dropped like dominoes in a wind tunnel. He reached her fast, eyes scanning for bites like a medic with a mission. No wounds, no signs, he finally allowed himself a breath. In another life, she was all ice and iron, untouchable. Now, she looked breakable, almost ordinary. Glasses guy snapped, horrified. Those weren't monsters to him, they were barbecue buddies. Zhou Zhuo breathed deep, steady. Those weren't people anymore. One nip, one splash, that's the starter pack for becoming undead. The glasses went up, voice went high. Zombies, that was old Zhang on a family errand. The plan? Dial 911 and hope the cops had flamethrowers. Lin Jia emerged slow clapping like a villain auditioning for attention. With a smirk, he mocked the whole scene. Zombies were fiction, and this guy, just overdramatic. That sarcasm lit a fuse. Suddenly, the crowd wanted ropes, not reason. Just as things tilted toward a riot, Xie Bingbing cut through the noise. Zhou Zhuo saved them, like it or not. Zhou Zhuo gave her a look, equal parts thanks and relief. He straightened up, tone locked in steel. Proof was waiting out back, mountainside. He'd show them if they dared follow. Lin Jia's gaze sharpened. The supply runs, the quiet prep. It all added up. This guy wasn't guessing, he knew. Lin Jia silently decided if Zhou Zhuo knew too much, he'd have to disappear, permanently. Grinning like a politician, he rallied his muscle and tagged along just in case insurance was needed. Xie Bingbing signed up, worry etched on her face. Huang Tao followed too, clinging to hope for his missing wife. The village chief had gone out on a mystery hunt that morning and never checked back in. Up the mountain trail, they spotted his car, parked, doors shut, no driver in sight. Zhou Zhuo pressed a hand to the hood, still warm. The timing clicked. Whoever left this car hadn't gotten far. Old memories stirred, like puzzle pieces sliding into place. If history repeated, this forest was likely Outbreak Central. They scoured the hillside, top to bottom, came up empty. Until Zhou Zhuo spotted it, an eerie cave mouth tucked behind the rocks. Blood painted the ground, the stench was unmistakable. Death had passed through. Every inch of it screamed undead traffic. Zhou Zhuo moved toward the cave without flinching. Someone had to go first. Lin Jia sneered, tossing barbs. Maybe this was just cleanup for whatever Zhou Zhuo was hiding. A sharp look shut him down. Follow or freeze. Just don't slow them down. As he stepped forward, something lunged from the shadows, fast and feral. Huang Tao cried out, voice cracking with joy. His wife, she stood there. He ran, arms outstretched, heart sprinting faster than his feet. Then she snarled and lunged for his throat like an animal. Zhou Zhuo barked a warning mid-sprint. Blade flashing, he cut in. Steel slid between her jaws before she could bite. No pause. The blade sank deep. The threat ended. As Zhou Zhuo turned to help, Huang Tao screamed. Rage cracked into motion. Grief boiled into fury. He swung, blinded by loss. Zhou Zhuo dropped him flat, face unreadable, silence louder than any threat. Calm but heavy-hearted, he made it clear. Ashen was gone before the bite. Survival left no room for sentiment. Huang Tao wobbled upright, grief boiling into rage, asked if Zhou could stay calm watching his own family die. Memories ambushed Zhao, blood, bodies, and a cold silence where his loved ones once laughed. Rage flipped a switch. He hoisted Huang Tao like a rag doll. His stare went razor-sharp. This time, no one touched his family and walked away. Just as the blade lifted, Lin Jia chimed in, sarcasm dripping. The jab landed. Maybe Zhou wasn't that different from the creatures after all. A hand clamped his wrist mid-swing. Intervention, hard and fast. One move, and Zhou was on the ground. Old reflexes didn't care about drama. The voice was rough but familiar, commanding him to get it together. Above him stood Zhao Ming firm, unshaken, the anchor he didn't know he needed. Zhao Ming locked eyes with the broken man, reading grief like an open book. He barked the truth. No one wanted this. It was never a choice. Guilt wasn't Huang Tao's alone. Zhao Ming took his share. Still a leader, still needed. Zhao Ming reminded him where duty began. Huang Tao wavered, fists clenched. Then, a nod cracked a grief's grip. A voice echoed faintly from inside, pleading. Too clear to ignore. Zhou Zhuo paused, uneasy. The voice felt rehearsed, too smooth. One of Lin Jia's goons scoffed at the tension and charged in, full bravado. He marched in, confidence outweighing caution. One wet slice later, his top half was airborne, blood painting the walls. A zombie tossed the corpse aside like meat scraps at a butcher's stall. Then came the eyes, hundreds glowing like embers in the dark. The horde had woken. Zhou Zhuo's goot dropped. The sheer number of undead flooding out shattered expectations. Fighting out was one thing, keeping both Summer and Zhao Ming alive was another problem entirely. Luckily, years of backyard boot camp under a retired soldier had turned the Zhou brothers into synchronized combat machines. Zhou Zhuo gave a quick reminder, headshots and light, simple rules, deadly results. The brothers flowed like choreography, slashes, dodges, and within minutes, the space was clear. Meanwhile, Lin Jia had turned full spectator mode, hugging a tree like it could fight for him. Deeper inside, that too-perfect plea for help echoed again, setting nerves on edge. One glance between the brothers said everything, time to move. Zhou Zhuo made it clear, too dangerous ahead. Anyone else would just be a liability. Without a word, the two disappeared into the cave's throat. Just a few steps in, a dried-out corpse blocked the path. Heart gone, body hollow. The voice returned, whispering through the air like it knew their names. Zhao Ming swept his light slowly, every shadow holding its breath. The village chief sat ahead, back turned, still a stone. Then he twisted unnaturally, pale, lifeless eyes and tentacles blooming from his chest. It lunged, all blur and terror, faster than any corpse should move. Zhao Ming swung without thinking, blade headed for its skull. Steel met flesh, but something was wrong. No recoil, no reaction. The thing didn't budge. This wasn't a zombie. This was next level. Tentacles lashed out, sending Zhou Zhuo crashing into the wall like a ragdoll. The flashlight caught its face. Light hit, and it shrieked, recoiling hard. They didn't wait. One chance was enough. They bolted for the exit. Outside, breathless and wide-eyed, Zhao Ming looked like he'd seen myth made flesh. Zhou Zhuo pieced it together. This wasn't just undead. It had evolved. He eyed the mine shaft, most likely a mutant bat nest, and that thing, probably stage 2. He looked up at the moon, bright enough to buy time. They feared light, and tonight the odds were slightly in their favor. Zhao Ming blinked in disbelief, while Zhou Zhuo answered with a smug shrug, like someone who'd watched too many apocalypse specials. Apparently, pre-apocalypse documentary marathons had their perks. They turned to leave, already drafting tomorrow's game plan, this time with gears suited for mutant slaying. Then chaos struck, hundreds of red eyes spilled from the cave, a shrieking cloud of mutant bats. Wings blotted out the moon, turning night into something even darker. The zombie didn't wait, launched like a missile. It slammed Zhao Ming into the air. A tentacle whipped out, flashlight gone in an instant, so much for visibility. Its aim was locked. Zhao Ming wasn't escaping this hunt. Zhou Zhuo held on, teeth clenched, muscles burning, but it was like wrestling a freight train. Jaws widened for the final bite, and Zhou Zhuo froze, helpless and horrified. Just then, headlights cut through the madness. A car barreled into view. The door flung open. See a bing-bing behind the wheel. Eyes locked on target. No hesitation. She floored it and launched the creature airborne. Zhou Zhuo surged forward, blade ready. One final strike. Monster down. The truth hit hard. The monster had been the village chief. Bing Bing went quiet. Zhao Ming, exhausted but genuine, gave a nod. She'd save them both. Their relief didn't last. Zhao Zhuo's expression suddenly drained of color. There it was, clear as day on Zhao Ming's arm. A bite. Zhao Ming gave a tired smile. The unspoken truth hung between them. Zhou Zhuo felt the weight drop. He already knew what had to be done. He stared, guilt heavy in his chest. This wasn't how the second chance was supposed to go. He'd come back to rewrite fate, but now it felt like a cruel rerun. His eyes darted to the dead mutant, the source of it all. He tore the blade free and hacked away again and again. Rage, grief, and blood flying. Zhao Ming watched in shock, thinking his brother had lost it completely. Bing Bing tried to stop him, reaching out to pull him back from his frantic hacking. Zhou Zhuo kept going, recalling that powerful zombies store viral energy in a crystal deep in their skulls. Moments later, the dark red crystal gleamed at the back of the mutant's brain. He faced Zhao Ming, hope flickering in his eyes, offering the crystal, proof there was still time before the infection took over. Zhou Ming warned the crystal was a viral core, risky to take, either evolving immunity or becoming a monster himself. Zhou Ming hesitated a second, then swallowed the core without looking back. This was their only hope. Post-swallow, Zhou Ming smirked, half joking about the secret weapon, asking when the superpowers would kick in. Zhou Zhuo deadpanned. Give it 2 days. Zhou Ming nodded, eyes on the cave's darkness. 2 days to change, or seal it tight. And if he emerged with powers, jealousy was off limits. Watching his brother stroll off, Zhou Zhuo felt a rare lightness, faith quietly settling in. A faint smile formed as he whispered to himself, ready and waiting just out of sight. Unnoticed, Lanjea had overheard everything, a dark grin creeping across his face. He smiled sinisterly, deciding to help speed up the mutation process. Dawn broke, bringing a new day full of chaos and hope. Zhou Ying stormed in, decked out in homemade armor, ready for action. Zhao Zhao gave her a helpless look, comparing her armor to low-budget cosplay. Proudly, Zhou Ying bragged about her all-night armor project, defense level, questionable. She waited for praise, but Zhou Zhou just poked her armor like it was a balloon. Her armor collapsed like a house of cards. Zhou Zhou deadpanned, planning to roll zombies to death. Shaking his head, he stepped out into the morning air. Outside, Dad was balancing on a ladder, fortifying the courtyard wall brick by brick. Mr. Zhou called out, spotting him immediately. He hopped down, grabbing a barrel of black powder, grinning like a kid with a new toy. Wondering where the powder came from, Zhou Zhou just smiled. Old men deserve some fun too. Zhou Ying sighed, reminding Dad that gunpowder wasn't exactly a toy. Mr. Zhou ignored the warning, slinging the barrel over his shoulder and jogging off, joking about needing more than one. Zhou Zhou watched nervously, silently pleading Dad not to blow up the house. A sudden clang echoed from the side yard, breaking the tension. He spotted Mom balancing a frying pan helmet and trident, training on a yoga roller with his little sister copying every move. Zhou Zhou stared, thinking that was classic mother-daughter teamwork right there. He called out, wondering if breakfast was happening anytime soon. Without missing a beat, Mom told him to make his own breakfast, eyes locked on her fork moves. Zhou Zhou shrugged, deciding Uncle Neo's place was the better breakfast bet. Xia Bingbing lingered at the doorstep, hesitating just before ringing the bell. Zhuo Zhuo opened the door, surprised to see her standing there so quietly. She looked down briefly, unsure how to start the conversation. Summoning courage, she finally spoke up, asking for his help. Zhou Zhou blinked, curious. Mom appeared, smiling warmly at Bingbing's arrival. Bingbing nodded, thanking Annie but making it clear she was only here for Zhou Zhou. Her tone turned serious, explaining the village committee's defense efforts but noting the sudden radio silence from the county. Zhou Zhou checked his phone, no signal. He frowned, sensing this was unusual. Bingbing pressed on, worried that the silence might hide something critical, like missing reinforcements. Meeting his gaze, she asked him to join her on a trip to the county to uncover the truth. Zhou Zhou stood silent, visibly troubled by the request and the unknown ahead. Reading his hesitation, Bingbing apologized, acknowledging the recent hardships but pleading for his help. She steeled herself, insisting it was her duty, and he was the best equipped to handle the dangers. Just then Mom stepped in gently, reminding Bingbing that her efforts had saved Zhou Zhou once already. Bingbing turned, surprised by the sudden voice of support. Mrs. Zhou reassured Bingbing that Ming's fate was his own, then asked her son to come with her, leaving Bingbing waiting. Zhou Zhou exchanged a glance with his mom and followed her quietly inside. She paused by an old wooden shelf, digging through it with calm determination. Without looking back, she reminded him parents protect, not restrict, though he still managed to worry his little sister. She revealed a long weathered blade, its edge dull but still holding a faint gleam. Zhou Zhou and Xia Bingbing set off side by side, their eyes fixed on the road to the county. Behind them, Mrs. Zhou lingered at the gate, watching until they vanished from sight. A soft smile crossed her lips as she mused quietly about the unlikely duo. Deep in the cave, Zhou Ming stayed still, waiting for the strange power of the zombie core to kick in. Footsteps echoed nearby, breaking the silence. Mistaking the visitor for his brother, he warned them to wait, then noticed a wet trail by his boots. He tested the liquid's scent, and his face shifted instantly upon recognizing it. Gasoline. Before he could act, a spark ignited at the cave entrance. An explosion roared, flames engulfing the tunnel, swallowing Zhao Ming without a trace. Meanwhile, Zhou Zhou and Xia Bingbing drove toward the county, hunting for any sign of help. Bingbing nervously stared out the window, quietly humming a painfully off-key tune. Zhou Zhou glanced over, silently noting her total lack of musical talent. Catching his look, Bingbing blushed, apologizing for the nervous noise, but Zhou Zhou wasn't laughing. Instead, he felt warmth. She was scared, but pushing herself forward anyway. That was classic Xia Bingbing, no doubt about it. Facing unknown dangers, he knew memories alone wouldn't be enough this time. Her uncanny zombie sense was a trust he had to lean on. Abruptly, he suggested Bingbing stay at his place for safety. She paused, cheeks flushed, silently questioning his offer. Lost in thought, Zhou Zhou barely noticed her tone, doubting she'd believe him about her future powers anyway. Instead, he kept it simple. He needed her safe and couldn't afford to lose her. Bing Bing's flushed cheeks hinted she was about to question him. Zhou frowned sharply. Up ahead, a massive landslide blocked the entire road. They wasted no time getting out to assess the damage. Bing Bing sighed heavily, faced with a debris mountain that made the county unreachable. Zhou Zhuo stayed quiet but tense, noting the road's unexpected change. If blocked, supply troubles were inevitable. After a long breath, he decided to return to the village and find a plan. Bing Bing nodded quietly in agreement. Zhou Zhuo's thoughts raced. Supplies held, but no signal and no escape made everything feel tighter. Suddenly, the car jolted hard, slipping dangerously toward the bridge's edge. He slammed the brakes, gripping the wheel like his life depended on it. Tires screamed as the car halted mere inches from disaster. They both jumped out fast, eyes scanning for the cause. Bing Bing stared at the ground, her voice shaking with unease. Zhou Zhuo's face darkened. Spike strip. Someone was playing dirty. A mocking voice came from above. Lin Jia perched on the railing, pistol spinning, clearly not welcoming visitors. Jia's cold glare met theirs without hesitation. Lin Jia sneered about revenge. Half his crew was gone, and he wasn't letting it slide. He dropped down and advanced slowly, each step loaded with threat. Zhou Zhuo scoffed, daring him to fight zombies instead of them. Lin Jia's eyes narrowed, mocking Zhou Zhuo's courage from the previous night. That was the last straw. Lin Jia's rage exploded with a deadly threat. Zhou Zhuo rested a hand on his blade, flashing a cold, inviting smile. Just as things peaked, Lin Jia fired unexpectedly at Xie Bing Bing. The shot echoed. She collapsed, blood spreading fast. Zhou Zhuo froze, eyes wide in shock. Zhou Zhuo's roar shattered the silence, calling out Lin Jia's name. Lin Jia's insult cut sharp, full of venom. He laughed cruelly, clearly enjoying the pain he caused. His grin grew darker, targeting what mattered most to Zhou Zhuo. Lin Jia gloated about witnessing Zhou's brother bitten and left unfinished, then claimed credit for blowing up the whole mind. Zhou Zhuo froze, shock hitting like a bolt of lightning. His eyes flashed red with sudden fury. Roaring, he drew his blade and charged. Lin Jia's wicked grin widened, mocking the charge. Just as he aimed to fire, a shadow burst from the trees. The blur bit hard, ripping Lin Jia's arm clean off. Lin Jia collapsed, howling in pain, stunned by the attacker. Zhou Zhuo skidded to a halt, eyes narrowing at the terrifying two-headed zombie wolf. Back in the village, Jia Ying swung her legs, worried why they hadn't returned. Loud pounding echoed sharply at the front gate. Urgent voices demanded if Zhou Zhuo was home. Zhou peeked over, denying Zhou Zhuo's presence and asking about others. Huang Chao pointed toward the ridge, shouting for attention. Zhou shone her phone flashlight uphill, freezing at the horrifying sight. Zombies poured down the slope like a dark, unstoppable tide. Lin Jia lay bleeding, barely conscious, cursing his unlucky fate. The zombie's bloodshot eyes locked onto Zhou Zhuo. Instinct screamed danger. He was the target now. The beast howled and lunged without hesitation. Zhou Zhuo dodged fast, slashing the beast's chest in passing. Blood sprayed as the zombie wolf hit the ground, screeching. Zhou Zhuo caught his breath, eyes fixed on the wounded beast. Dusk was his ally. The creature wasn't at full power yet. He knew nightfall meant trouble. Neither he nor Bing Bing would survive long. The fight had to end before darkness fell. Deep, guttural howls suddenly rose from the woods, sending chills down their spines. More zombies were on the move. No time to relax. Realization dawned, and his expression darkened. This wasn't just a few zombies. It was a horde. His eyes locked on the distant forest where an undead tide surged like a rolling wave. Questions raced. Wasn't the village chief the cause of this? Since the chief was dead, could the bats be behind this undead outbreak? Before he could connect the dots, the zombie wolf lunged with a savage roar. Sharp claws came crashing down, ready to tear him apart. Zhou Zhuo twisted just in time, narrowly avoiding a deadly strike. Heart racing, he wondered how the beast stayed so fast, then caught sight of something unsettling. The gash he made was closing fast, healing right before his eyes. No time to regroup, the beast snapped its jaws and lunged again. Far away in the cave where Ji Ming was trapped, rubble trembled from earlier blasts. A deep rumble grew louder, echoing through the tunnel's darkness. Suddenly, a powerful blast hurled boulders flying everywhere. From the smoke, Ji Ming emerged glowing crimson, a cold, twisted smile creeping across his face. Back on the bridge, Xie Bing stared in horror as the zombie wolf lunged for Zhou Zhuo. Her voice barely held together, silently begging for mercy. As the wolf's jaws closed, a fiery red aura burst from Zhou Zhuo, pulsing like raw energy under his skin. Power surged wildly, burning and rebirthing him, accompanied by a guttural roar. Fueled by the surge, Zhou Zhuo punched the beast's jaw with full force. The wolf reeled back, caught off guard by the brutal hit. Screeching in pain, blood pouring from its mouth, it crashed hard to the ground. Zhou Zhuo wasted no time, denying the beast any chance to recover. His eyes flared red as he lunged forward, blade raised for the finishing strike. With one brutal slash, the creature was sliced cleanly in two. Xiaobing stared in disbelief at the bloodied figure, barely able to whisper his name. He turned with a soft smile, silently reassuring her presence. Weak and collapsing, Xie Bing smiled faintly, relieved he was fine. She glanced at the severed beast and chuckled, impressed but unsurprised by his strength. Deep down, she had come to believe he could fix anything, no matter what. Zhou stared at his hands, power still pulsing steadily. Awakening seemed likely, but no crystal core had ever been involved. Something felt off. Shaking it off, his eyes fixed on the undead swarm. Conversation was over. Time to move. Surrounded with no escape, staying meant certain death. Spotting the injured leg, he offered to carry her, warning the ride would be rough. Gritting her teeth through pain, Xie Bing nodded firmly, ready to endure. The zombie horde roared like a crashing wave, snarls slicing the air as they closed in. Without hesitation, Zhou Zhuo hoisted Xie Bing and sprinted toward the village at full speed. The village outline appeared, but the undead closed fast, their footsteps pounding like war drums. A quick glance back confirmed the numbers, too many to fight off, and protecting Bing seemed impossible. Teeth clenched, ready to run. A roaring vehicle suddenly charged through the chaos like a missile. The truck, heavily modified, blasted fireballs from its exhaust, mowing down zombies like they were paper. Reaching Zhou Zhuo, the driver drifted sharply, swinging the tail to unleash a flame wall that incinerated zombies instantly. The truck stopped. Zhou's dad rolled down the window, cigarette in place, grinning like a hero. Zhou waved from the passenger seat, fire support ready. After the pickup, Zhou's dad floored it toward the village. Zombies close behind. He called for 3 dragon bombs to be launched. Zhou Yinga responded instantly, tossing 3 homemade fire bombs out the back window with perfect timing. Flames erupted, burning several zombies alive, but the fiery undead pressed on relentlessly. Zhou's dad snorted, amused by the fiery chase. Time to crank up the heat. Without hesitation, a barrel of gunpowder flew out the window, ready to ignite chaos. With a flick, the lit cigarette flew straight into the barrel. The night exploded in flames, turning the road into a fiery spectacle. Zhou Ying cheered wildly, while Zhou Zhuo and Xie Bing exchanged looks. This family might be crazier than the undead. Zhou suddenly recalled a medical kit under the seat and bent down to grab it. Bandages and ointment appeared in his hands. She snatched them, scolding him for grabbing a girl's leg so casually. With a sly grin, she teased about secrets possibly brewing between them. Xie Bing blushed, chuckling shyly. Zhou Zhuo rolled his eyes, thinking she loved stirring trouble. Ignoring the teasing, he asked his dad how things were back home. His dad kept watch, calmly reporting the village held strong, for now. Zhou nodded, eyeing the dynamite, wondering if his dad really made it, and why he was smoking near it. His dad laughed proudly, recalling his demolition days and failed firecracker experiments, ended quickly by Mom's disapproval. He sighed, missing his true calling. Zhao suddenly recalled last year's kitchen explosion. His dad froze, stammering denials and begging for secrecy. Soon the group reached the front gate. A loud screeching erupted from inside the yard as they stepped out. Zhao's dad paled, rushing to the door only to find it locked from within. Zhao Zhuo stepped up, bent low, and blasted the door open with a single knee strike. Inside, Zhou's mom casually held a struggling zombie by the neck with one hand, like it was nothing. She coldly acknowledged the zombie as an old friend from a neighboring village. Zhao's dad and Zhou Ying peeked nervously, retreating at her furious glare. Zhou cautiously called out to his mom. Without looking up, frying pan in hand, she scolded the zombie for scaring her, and reminded it debts weren't forgiven by death. She swung furiously, listing old debts and grudges. College money given, no thanks received, plus some serious gossip beef. Zhao Zhuo stared in shock, edging closer to his dad, wondering when Mom became such a powerhouse. His dad calmly took a drag, saying she'd always been that fierce. Once she ruled a 10-village radius, untouchable by most men. Peace came only after she strongly persuaded him to marry her. A frying pan whacked him from behind as his wife's sharp voice called him out for begging to marry her. She shot a warning glare at Zhou Zhuo for breaking the gate like a hero, promising payback soon. Zhou Zhuo tried to sneak away, but Xie Bing defended him, explaining he was genuinely worried. Zhou's mom froze mid-step at Xie Bing's words. Her face softened instantly, brushing it off as a joke. Zhou Zhuo watched, thinking her acting was scarier than zombies. Suddenly, a chilling roar echoed as a zombie shrieked wildly atop the courtyard wall. Before it could leap, a strike sent the zombie crashing back outside. Plong Dao shouted from the wall, warning that zombies were flooding in with a large group coming from the west. Zhao's eyes sharpened, energy glowing red as he dove headfirst into the battle. Seeing his family fight fiercely, Zhao Zhuo's heart swelled with resolve. They'd hold the line together, no exceptions. No longer alone, he felt sure survival was possible with family united against death's tide. Suddenly, zombies at the rear began retreating unexpectedly. Shocked, Zhou Zhuo blinked, noticing the zombies pulling back. Zhao frowned, doubtful. Zombies weren't known for fear. Then the zombies reappeared, this time wielding ladders, crowbars, and saws, clearly organized. Zhao's dad gaped, incredulous. Tools? Was this a zombie attack or a siege? Zhou Zhuo's voice turned cold. These weren't mindless creatures. Someone was pulling the strings. Amid the chaos, Zhao Zhuo spotted a figure on a rooftop, Linjia, shockingly alive. The man presumed dead now stood tall, wearing a twisted, chilling smile. Waves of zombies surged like a tidal wave toward the compound, relentless and fierce. Zhou's dad cursed, frustrated that all the zombies targeted their home. He urgently warned Zhou they'd run out of explosives. Huang Chao called out. Some zombies were climbing in from the side. Zhou turned to see zombies scaling the wall. His heart sank. This was a tactical move. Below, Xia Bei and his parents were surrounded, fighting the undead with every last ounce of strength. The whole family fought desperately, backs against the wall. Zhou's eyes narrowed, red light flickering with renewed fire. He told his parents to hold the courtyard line, then surged with power and dove into the zombie swarm. Zhou's father watched in panic as his son plunged into danger, his voice cracking with alarm. Zombies crashed down, burying Zhou beneath a sea of teeth and claws. Despite the weight, fear didn't touch him. He closed his eyes, feeling his energy erupt like a volcano. Clutching his blade, he summoned his powers, Blood Barrier, Earthbreaker Force, and Blood Azura unleashed. With one fierce swing, a crimson wave blasted outward, shredding zombies into chunks of flesh and bone. Standing panting, Zhou recalled a past life memory of a legendary Dawn Legion commander using that very move. He knew his Blood Azura wasn't perfect yet, still a work in progress. No, perfection didn't matter. Just enough strength to protect loved ones was enough. His gaze locked on the twisted figure above. The zombies were just pawns. The real danger was the puppeteer. Take out the king to stop the chaos. Another wave charged, but Zhou smirked, red eyes glowing. These scraps couldn't stop him. No sooner had he spoken than a deafening roar erupted behind him. A chill ran down his spine as he spun around just in time to see a zombie lunging at Bing Bing. Zhou's mom swung her frying pan, knocking the attacker flying before it reached Bing Bing. She hurried over, worry in her eyes, checking Bing Bing for any bites. Gasping, Bing Bing shook her head, asking about Zhou, who had just jumped down. Zhou shouted excitedly from the yard, praising Zhou's superhero-like zombie slaying. Assurance hung in the air until a thunderous crash shattered it. Jilang froze, then slowly turned toward the noise. There lay Lai Zhu, bloodied and battered amidst rubble and dust. Struggling upright, he warned hoarsely to stay back and run. Looming large was a mutated zombie bear, truck-sized, red-eyed, with steel shards jutting from its spine. Each breath steamed like a furnace flare. The beast hunted, not watched. Despite pain shaking his body, he forced himself to stand. Fists clenched, eyes locked on the beast, his resolve was clear. Only he would face it, no harm would come to his family. Not again. Zhou's eyes flared red, unleashing every bit of power. A wildfire of blood-red energy roared around him. Teeth clenched, he stood firm before the monstrous bear, ready to die defending his family if needed. Panic echoed from the courtyard as family urged retreat, but Zhou didn't budge an inch. The zombie bear roared, claws swinging like a guillotine. Zhou dodged just in time. Before the claw landed, a crash rang out, followed by a teasing voice, impressed by the sudden display of power. Dust settled to reveal Zhao Ming, casually blocking the claw with one hand, arriving just in time. Zhou's eyes widened in shock and relief. Zhao Ming smirked, stretching off the mountain training that honed his newfound power. He glanced at Zhou, ready to show how the power was truly wielded. A swift twist sent the giant bear flying through the air. The beast crashed into rubble like a runaway freight train, booming loudly. Zhao Ming dusted off, smirking at the still-breathing giant. This oversized hamster was tough. Calm and confident, Zhao Ming took charge, telling Zhou to tackle his unique challenge. Zhou smirked, eyes sharp and cold as steel. Nodding, he faced Lin Ji on the rooftop, haunted by past losses but now armed with power to end all threats. Zhou stepped forward, cold and sharp, confronting Lin Ji's survival. Lin Ji turned, his missing arm replaced by a grotesque wolf claw. Laughing darkly, he was no longer the man he once was. The old Lin Ji was gone, replaced by a wild-eyed grin and fangs, no longer human, but something more. Part zombie, part man, he claimed control and intelligence, commanding the horde with his mind intact. Declaring himself king, Lin Ji basked in dark power as hordes surged, mocking Zhou for unknowingly handing him a gift. His voice turned cruel as he pondered how to repay Zhou for the gift with a chilling plan set. Before the word finished, Zhou's blade struck, splitting Lin Ji's head in two, blood spraying like a geyser. Zhou his sword with a cold glare, dismissing Lin Ji as a loud-mouthed coward unfit to be king. He scanned the battlefield, noting Long's fall might ease Big Brother's burden. A chilling laugh sliced through the tension from behind. Zhou Afro's turned, stunned as Lin Ji's body reanimated, wounds healing with grotesque cracks and pulsing flesh. Lin Ji's eyes glowed feral red, grinning monstrously, his voice deeper, declaring the blade useless against him. Zhou's eyes widened, blade raised, realizing the foe's regeneration. Before striking, Lin Jia appeared beside him like a dark shadow. Lin Jia's voice hissed venomously into Zhou's ear, claiming this era belonged to them now. An offer twisted in dark ambition: join, rule over dead servants, feed on the living, and watch humanity kneel. He motioned to the horde below, boasting about clearing out weaker foes, a gift to mark the grim welcome. The zombie tide slammed against the walls. Inside, Zhou's parents watched Bing Bing and others fight desperately to hold the line. Uncle Neo's urgent shout cut through. The west side was collapsing. Zhao's father, sweat pouring, urged everyone to hold on. Xiaoshu and Chua were expected to turn the tide. Before a breath could be taken, a thunderous crash announced the giant bear's corpse crashing down, choking the ground with dirt and blood. Ilming's mischievous voice teased from behind the wall, suggesting the bear's toughness could help patch the breach. Zhao's father spun, tension mixed with relief, asking after Xiaoshu's brother. Concern hung in the air over Zhuo's fate. Zhuo Ming stared down zombies closing in on all sides. Jaw clenched tight, he realized escape was impossible. Firmly reassuring his father that Zhou Zhuo had greater potential, Zhuo Ming watched as Zhu Su took another brutal hit, crashing painfully. Dust exploded as he lay battered, blood dripping from his mouth. Lin Jie crouched on the rubble, grinning wickedly, mocking Zhu Su's weak resistance. He offered a cold deal, kneel now and be forgiven for defying their king. Before the threat finished, a crimson slash streaked through the air. Zhou Zhuo lunged, blade piercing Lin Ji's chest, hurling him through 3 stone walls. Standing tall amid chaos, Zhou's sharp gaze and cold voice made one thing clear. Humans don't side with beasts that threaten family. Swords dripping blood, he approached the fallen figure with judgment in his voice. Only one thing remained to be done. Lin Ji's wound sealed fast as he wiped blood off his claw, voice cold and sharp, promising Zhou's end. In a blur, Lin Ji lunged, claw slicing like a guillotine. Zhou barely blocked it, sparks flying from the fierce clash. Lin Ji's speed and power shook Zhao's arms. Holding the defense felt impossible now. Lin Jie pressed the attack relentlessly, hammering him with blow after blow. A sharp pain cut deep through Zhao's arm, slicing past his blood barrier. He kicked back instinctively, landing several paces away, gasping for breath. Eyeing the wound, he admitted the blood Azura's shield was failing. He was running out of strength. Lin Ji sneered across the field, licking his claw, surprised Zhou had dodged the attack. Zhou's strength waned, vision blurring as his blood power flickered weakly. Still, he locked eyes on the monster, gripping his blade tighter, ready to make his last strike count. Before he could move, Lin Jie materialized right before him. Lin Jie's wicked grin and glowing eyes hinted even he didn't fully grasp his full strength. Zhou froze briefly. Lin Ji's claw sliced deeply, blood splattering the ground. In that moment, Zhou reached swiftly into his coat. Summoning his last strength, he hurled a homemade explosive at Lin Ji's face. The explosion erupted, flames engulfing the area in a fiery inferno. From the smoke, Lin Jie's mocking voice teased, apparently, a Molotov wasn't enough to kill him. Smoke cleared to reveal Lin Jie unharmed. Zhou had vanished. Lin Jie blinked, laughed darkly at the chase ahead. He taunted that Zhou's blood was like a flare, impossible to hide. His grin vanished, eyes freezing cold. No matter how far Zhou ran, Lin Jie vowed to hunt him down and destroy him. Elsewhere, Zhou collapsed inside a dim convenience store, breath ragged, clutching his wound, blade still firmly in hand. Leaning on a cold shelf, he noted the bleeding had stopped. Not healed, but better. Blood Azura could heal, though relief was brief. Energy nearly spent, only one move remained, a final chance. Outside, footsteps echoed with Lin Ji's cruel voice mocking the gas station hideout and Zhou's poor taste in coffin. Lin Ji's claw scraped a rusted van, sparks flying as metal screamed in protest. Lin Ji slowed, voice dropping like a predator laying down the hunting rules, questioning why wolves chase even without hunger. Lin Ji paced deliberately, savoring the terror of crushed hopes. With a twisted grin, he kicked a car, flipping it like a toy amid a screech. His gaze dropped to a blood trail on the ground. The trail ended at a faint tripwire slick with gasoline. Above hung a glass Molotov, poised to shatter with any disturbance. Lin Ji's smile widened, mocking the idea of blindly walking into a trap. He claimed the true threat was above, raising a claw with narrowing eyes. With a sudden leap, Lin Ji slashed upward, tearing into the roof. The ceiling exploded into a storm of steel and wood debris. As debris settled, a blood-soaked jacket landed right at Lin Ji's feet. He grabbed the jacket, puzzled, eyes narrowing at the unexpected find. Before he could react further, Zhou Zhuo burst from the shadows in one fluid move, landing before him. A handful of powder flew straight into Lin Ji's face. Lin Ji reeled, clutching burning eyes, caught off guard by the sting. Zhou advanced calmly, revealing it was salt, a torture for Lin Ji's senses now dulled. Zhou stepped up, calmly noting Lin Ji's inherited strength came with a fatal weakness. He explained a wolf's nose is ultra-sensitive. Salt becomes pure agony for it. His gaze locked on Lin Ji, warning how traps fool the overconfident. Lin Ji's eyes flared with rage, promising vengeance and destruction. Zhou remained calm, raising his blade with quiet confidence. Crimson blood energy surged, cloaking his sword in a deadly storm. His blade struck with blood Azura's power, slicing through in a flash of red. Lin Ji slammed into the earth, shockwaves ripping the ground apart. Smoke swirled, revealing a smoking crater where Lin Ji fell. Zhou stood at the pit's edge, eyes fixed on the wreckage below. He muttered that these monsters were stubborn survivors, far from dead yet. Linji lay bloodied in the crater, snarling with stubborn pride. Kings don't die that easily. Shock hit as thick, oily gasoline began rising around him, turning panic where fury was. Panic replaced anger when he realized the danger creeping up. Zhou Zhuo's cold voice broke the tension, dismissing the earlier firebombs as insufficient. Calmly reinforcing the crater, he hinted the underground fuel tank was the real game-changer. Without a hint of emotion, he declared the gas station Linji's coffin, then detonated it. Far away, Zhou's father gripped weapons at the gate as a thunderous blast shook the horizon. Confusion crossed his face, eyes searching the sky for the source. A massive fireball blossomed, lighting the ruins like a second sun rising. He watched silently, murmuring the sun had risen, though this light was far from normal. Zhao's shout drew everyone's attention, breaking the tension instantly. The night zombie horde was pulling back, retreating from the fight. The deadly tide gradually receded, giving the defenders a chance. Worn out but relieved, the defenders exchanged tired, grateful smiles. Zhou Zhuo glanced at the rising sun, gave a faint smile, then headed home. A weak voice suddenly broke the quiet from behind him. A pale, barely conscious figure leaned on a wall, quietly pleading for help. Her strength failed, head dropping forward helplessly. Zhou Zhuo paused, turning back with concern. It was Li Qin, back at their home base. Zhao Ying crossed her arms, glaring, questioning her brother's public decency after his odd rescue. Zhao defended himself, explaining the bite check was necessary. No one survived mistakes like that. He added, half-joking, that shirtlessness made it a fair exchange after all. Zhao rolled his eyes, calling out the creep vibes. Just in time, he was cut off before he could explain. The nearby door creaked open, stealing the moment. Xiaobing stepped out calmly, confirming the girl was just worn out. Mental and physical fatigue, nothing worse. She glanced between them, puzzled by their odd expressions. Zhao Ying cleared her throat, forcing a smile, claiming relief was the only reason for their weird looks. Zhuge nodded, voice warm, offering a quiet thanks. Xiaobing looked down, modestly deflecting credit, insisting the real work was theirs. After a brief rest, Huang Tao, Uncle Neo and Xiaobing ready to check the village. Their council duty was clear, search for survivors before darkness fell. Just before leaving, Zhou Zhuo called out, sensing guilt in Bingbing's eyes and offering reassurance. He reminded her that zombie tides are unstoppable, but survival still means hope. Bingbing turned, returning a gentle, understanding smile. From a nearby car, Jiaming chuckled, teasing his brother about finally sounding human. Zhou Zhuo watched them leave, quietly hopeful that this ending was different. Zhao raised an eyebrow, confused but dismissed it, joking about meeting Zhou's EQ. He sighed, started the engine, and reminded that cleanup wasn't over yet. They drove toward the mountains, ready to finish the grim task. Watching the flames, Zhou Zhuo stressed incineration was crucial. No one wanted another disaster. Zhao Ming dusted off his hands, joking about finally getting real sleep, and reminded Zhou Zhuo about the gas station wash. Zhou Zhuo scratched his head, awkwardly admitting the gas station incident left a lingering stench. Then he frowned, suddenly suspicious. Zhou Ming smirked, slinging an arm around his brother, claiming big bro privileges, no arguments allowed. Zhou narrowed his eyes, reminding him the rules were clear. Zhou Ming raised an eyebrow, daring if Zhou still had what it takes to beat him. Zhou Zhuo scoffed confidently, bragging about never losing at ghost tag. They set the game fast. Zhou Ming hunted, Zhou Zhuo fled. 10-second countdown, 3 minutes to catch. Simple rules, classic chase. The ghost's only job was to run like his life depended on it. Zhou Zhuo burst off with a flare, while Zhao Ming chuckled, ready for the familiar tricks. Before Zhao Zhuo blinked, Zhao Ming was hot on his tail. A quick lunge met a slick dodge as Zhao Zhuo vanished like a shadow. They tore through the forest, vaulting roots and dodging trees in an endless game of tag. Suddenly, Zhao Zhuo aimed high, leaping for a tree branch above. Zhao Ming blinked and smirked. Airborne, huh? No time wasted. Zhao Ming charged straight at the tree, just as Zhao Zhuo's fingers brushed the branch. Crack! The tree crashed down. Zhao Zhuo barely flinched, landing safely. Behind, Zhao Ming grinned wide, blade ready, tree freshly felled. Escape plans foiled, no way up there. Zhao Zhuo had barely touched ground when something huge barreled toward him. He spun just in time to see Zhao Ming flinging the whole trunk. Arms crossed, Zhao Zhuo braced hard, blocking the massive throw. Locked in place, one pushed, one resisted, energy buzzing between brothers. Zhao Ming laughed, teasing. Zhou Zhuo stayed silent, focused, all focus on holding the trunk back, marveling at its sheer power. Seeing no winning push, he let momentum pull him back, absorbing the hit. The log slammed into the cliff, dust and splinters exploding everywhere. Zhao Ming scratched his head, asking if he overdid it. Silence answered. When dust settled, nobody was in sight. Then, bonk, a pebble tapped his head from above. Zhao Zhuo's voice drifted down, declaring the ghost the winner this round. Zhao Ming glanced up toward the cliff and shouted something. He teased about the sudden appearance, calling his brother a sneaky brat. Zhou Zhuo landed lightly, grinning, explaining the impact helped him understand their powers better. Zhao Ming nodded, mentioning his power came from absorbing a zombie core. Zhou Ming shrugged, agreeing but noted his power was unique. He could tap into others' abilities, surprising even himself. Zhou Ming realized Zhou Zhuo could copy his powers, confirming it wasn't coincidence. Zhou Zhuo nodded, confirming he could mimic the Blood Bastion ability. He summarized the power, strength, speed, defense, and that crimson aura blocking attacks. He could mimic about 70%. Zhou Ming raised an eyebrow, surprised he lost despite the 70% copy. Zhou Zhuo revealed he could also analyze abilities like RPG stats, prompting Zhou Ming's joking disbelief. Zhou Zhuo explained it was instinctual, sensing strength as numbers, high power, agility, endurance. Intelligence was another story. Zhou Ming joked, hoping the ability boosted his intelligence as well. Zhou Zhuo smirked, calling Zhou Ming's smarts 0, and teased about the tree stump fight. Zhou Ming joked back, mock-threatening. Zhou Ming suddenly recalled the zombie bear core crystal hidden in Zhou Zhuo's drawer for future use. Unknown to them, a hidden figure behind the trees eavesdropped on the entire conversation. Late at night, a shadow slipped into Zhou Zhuo's room while he slept soundly. Zhou Ying discovered the crystal core, eyes gleaming with excitement, quietly thrilled to gain a superpower. The next morning, their mom sent Zhou Zhuo out to plow under the blazing sun, prepping supplies. Sweating profusely, Zhou Zhuo labored under the hot sun. He silently complained about the favoritism as his brothers relaxed while he did the hard work. Resigned, Zhou Zhuo activated his cheat skill to speed up the plowing. Nearby, Li Qin nervously clutched a cup of water, hiding in the corner. After hesitating, she gathered courage and stepped forward. Wearing a bright smile, she called out, clearly relieved to have found Zhou Zhuo. Meanwhile, Zhou Zhuo was scrubbing zombie bloodstains off the wall, busy with the mess. Footsteps approached, prompting him to glance back. Recognizing her, he kept his tone calm. He inquired quietly about her condition. Li Qin smiled warmly, expressing gratitude and relief for her recovery. Zhou Zhuo shrugged off the thanks, calling it just keeping a promise. Unfazed by his coolness, Li Qin poured water and smiled, insisting gratitude was owed. After a pause, she gently asked for more help down the line. Zhou Zhuo's reply was a firm no despite her hopeful tone. Li Qin appeared shocked, barely able to hide her disappointment. Without looking back, Zhou Zhuo reminded her the favor was settled, tied to her father's goodwill. Calm but firm, he declared their debt paid with no obligation to continue. Li Qin lowered her head, whispering quiet understanding. With cleaning done, Zhou Zhuo stood silently before the spotless wall. Feeling power stir, he muttered about needing more training to master farming with his blood butcher ability. Suddenly, a sharp knock echoed from the front door. Zhou Zhuo opened it quickly, brow furrowed with concern. Inside, Xia Bingbing and the group returned from searching, quietly seated and downcast. Zhou Zhuo's face darkened as he realized the village had no survivors. Bingbing bit her lip, sadness flickering in her eyes. Before apologies could form, Zhou Zhuo interrupted firmly, assuring them they did all they could against an unstoppable corpse tide. After silence, Uncle Neo broke the quiet with a question. He asked what their next move would be. Zhou Zhuo responded calmly, clean up, rest, and eat dinner together. His steady gaze emphasized that surviving was what truly mattered. After freshening up, Xia Bingbing appeared in Zhao Ying's spare clothes. She fidgeted with the tight outfit, clearly uncomfortable and wondering if she looked out of place. Zhao's mom called from the kitchen. Xia Bingbing hurried to the table, eager to join dinner. At the table, Zhao's dad and the others shared warm laughs and easy conversation. Zhao's mom smiled knowingly, inviting Xia Bingbing to sit beside Zhou Zhuo. Xia Bingbing nodded politely and moved over to Zhou Zhuo's side. Li Qin observed the cozy scene, her smile tightening as unease flickered across her face. Once everyone settled, Zhao's dad raised his glass with a serious tone, acknowledging everyone's presence. He scanned the group, summarizing the grim reality. They were the last survivors, isolated with no outside contact. After a pause, his tone brightened. Survival was theirs. Raising his glass, he declared them family from now on. He vowed they'd support and fight together, not just surviving, but truly living. Just as glasses lifted, Zhou Ying's drink slipped, shattering on the floor. Zhou Ming's concern flared as he noticed Zhou Ying's sudden distress. Zhou Ying's eyes reddened, sweat poured, and odd guttural noises escaped him. Zhou Zhuo activated his power, eyes locked on the unstable Zhou Ying. Without warning, Zhou Ying lunged with a wild, feral look. Her teeth sank sharply into Zhou Zhuo's arm. Zhou Zhuo stayed calm, completely unshaken. Zhao's parents and others shouted anxiously, desperate to bring Zhou Ying back. After a tense pause, the red haze lifted, and Zhou Ying's eyes cleared. Zhou Zhuo quietly checked if she was back to herself. Zhou Ying blinked, clearly confused and disoriented. Slowly, she met the uneasy, worried gazes around the room. Her cheeks burned with embarrassment, realizing the awkward social fallout. Noticing Zhou Ying's awkwardness, Zhou Zhuo sighed internally and gave her a quick, firm punch to the stomach. Slinging her over his shoulder, he told the others she needed fresh air, and they could keep eating without worrying. Watching her vomit on his shoulder, everyone just nodded, accepting his excuse without question. Outside, Zhou Ying crouched, head in hands, fully embarrassed by her own blunder. From behind, Zhou Zhuo scolded her for eating a crystal core, warning luck wouldn't always be on her side. She apologized meekly, admitting she just wanted powers like everyone else. Zhou Zhuo sighed, relieved he'd sensed her powers early, or she might have truly frightened him. With a sigh, he ruffled her hair and promised to teach her how to control her powers. He instructed her to close her eyes and picture her power flowing through her like a stream. Patiently, he explained her ability was now part of her, as natural as breathing. Smiling, he encouraged her to use her power to sense the world and describe what she noticed. She closed her eyes, tuning in slowly, then whispered she saw life as a soft glow flickered in her eyes. Life seemed to flow everywhere around her. Excited, she realized she could actually control that flow of life energy. Carefully, she funneled her energy into the soil below. Instantly, potato shoots burst through the soil. Within moments, the plants matured, thriving under her touch. Zhou Ying couldn't believe she sped up growth, while Zhou Zhuo chuckled in response. Zhou Zhuo confirmed it, revealing he shared the same power, surprising Zhou Ying even more. Grinning, Zhou Zhuo showed off a potato he planted earlier, glad her power promised plenty of food. Zhou Ying stared, stunned that her power was basically for farming. Grasping her head, she lamented, dreaming of epic powers, only to end up with farming skills. Zhou Zhuo gave a helpless look, muttering about the strange things on her mind. Deep down, Zhou Zhuo worried. It was rare to awaken powers just by eating a crystal core. But both his brother and Zhou Ying had powers now. It felt too connected to be mere chance. Next morning, a noisy rooster quickly met its fate when Zhou Zhuo grabbed it by the neck. He grumbled, clearly annoyed by the rooster's loud early morning protest. Glancing at Uncle Neo, he asked where the noisy bird came from so early. Uncle Neo chuckled, showing off a hen from his own flock, meant for eggs and chicks. He explained the poultry farm once gave him birds for help. He never ate them, just raised them. Zhou Zhuo remembered the farm was close by. After a brief chat, they agreed to go check the place out. They hoped to catch chickens and find eggs that might still hatch. Huang Tao nervously eyed nearby corpses, wondering if they'd suddenly rise as zombies. Inspecting closer, he noticed the corpses looked stabbed rather than bitten. Walking ahead, Zhou Zhuo reassured them zombies stayed inactive by day, just avoid dark basements. Feeling safer, they cautiously entered the factory. Behind them, Longtail murmured worries about the world outside, fearing it might be gone like their village. Uncle Neo confidently dismissed the fears, believing rescue was near thanks to human tech. Zhou Zhuo quietly advised caution, warning against high hopes. His expression darkened as he explained the virus was the true threat, worse than zombies. For now, self-reliance was their only sure bet. Uncle Neo and Huang Tao fell silent, their faces clouded by grim thoughts. Moments later, Uncle Neo found a stash of eggs in a cabinet. Grinning, he figured they could hatch the eggs by controlling temperature and humidity. Huang Tao scratched his head, puzzled where all the birds had gone. Only eggs remained. Zhou Zhuo and Uncle Neo exchanged confused looks. No remains. Suddenly, a harsh honk came from outside. Zhou Zhuo turned sharply to find a huge white goose at the door, flapping its wings like a greeting. Huang Tao's face brightened, spotting a live bird. He called Joshua for a sack, confident from poultry farm days. Bag in hand, Huang Tao confidently approached the goose. With practiced moves, he swiftly wrangled the goose into the sack. Just as he prepared to brag about his perfect catch, things took a wild turn. The calm goose morphed, its beak twisting into a fierce, gaping maw. It lunged at Huang Tao's head with shocking speed. Zhou Zhuo quickly activated his powers and dashed to Huang Tao's rescue. A strong strike sent the mutant goose crashing across the room. Huang Tao froze, stunned, and trying to process the sudden attack. Zhou Zhuo's urgent warning cut through the tension. Without hesitation, the group bolted out of the factory. Outside, Zhou Zhuo paused, sensing danger, stopping Huang Tao and Uncle Neo with a wary glance. Suddenly, dozens of mutant geese charged from every side. The mutant geese moved unnaturally fast, faster than expected. Almost instantly, the creatures closed in dangerously close. Zhou Zhuo caught sight of a narrow alley out of the corner of his eye. He quickly signaled Huang Tao and Uncle Neo toward the alley. But Huang Tao and Uncle Neo were just regular people. Their stamina faded fast, slowing their desperate escape. Zhou Zhuo quickly noticed their weakening pace. Both were clearly running out of steam. Glancing back, Zhou Zhuo saw the geese closing in without mercy. With no other option, Zhou Zhuo activated a growth ability he'd learned. He focused, channeling life energy deep within. Thick vines burst up, wildly spreading to block the alley and halt the mutant geese. Zhou Zhuo turned back, ready to push Huang Tao and Uncle Neo to move faster. Then he spotted a larger group of mutant geese blocking the alley ahead. Trapped on both ends, Zhou Zhuo quickly led them into an abandoned dormitory for cover. Inside, Huang Tao and Uncle Neo slumped against walls, pale and drenched in sweat, struggling to catch their breath. Uncle Neo eyed the courtyard swarming with mutant geese, realizing they were trapped with no easy escape. He admitted only Zhou Zhuo might get out alive. The rest seemed doomed. Zhou Zhuo's face tightened, guilt weighing on him, vowing to save them all despite the odds. He secretly promised to try, calculating if pushing his powers to the max could carry two men far enough to escape. Just as Zhou Zhuo prepared to charge, Huang Tao spotted a powered-on computer and called for a pause. Zhou Zhuo turned, curious but cautious. Huang Tao typed fast, announcing the network was still live and maybe there was hope after all. Suddenly, loud thuds shook the door, signaling the mutant geese's relentless assault. Zhou Zhuo pressed against the door, urging Huang Tao to hurry. The door wouldn't last much longer. Huang Tao kept typing frantically, claiming he needed just 3 minutes to finish. Gritting his teeth, Huang Tao promised to hold off the attackers for those 3 minutes. Zhou Zhuo knew the fragile door wouldn't hold that long. Survival meant fighting back, fast. Without hesitation, Zhou Zhuo unleashed his power, smashing his fist into the door. The door blasted open like a battering ram, pulverizing mutant geese nearby. Zhou Zhuo stepped out, gripping the shattered doorknob, ready for what came next. A fresh wave of screeching mutant geese rushed toward him without hesitation. Narrowing his eyes, Zhou Zhuo raised the iron door as a shield, blocking the brutal attack. Gathering strength, he slammed his left fist into the door with full force. The shockwave blasted down the corridor, turning charging geese into a bloody mess. Silence fell, and Zhou Zhuo allowed himself a brief relief, hoping for more time. Horror struck as the shredded mutant geese flesh started writhing and fusing back together. Uncle Neo called anxiously to Huang Tao, urging him to hurry as Zhou Zhuo fought desperately outside. Huang Tao, fingers flying over keys, promised he was nearly done, just one last step. Quietly, Huang Tao hoped Zhou Zhuo could hold on a little longer. The last file still needed to finish downloading. Time was ticking. Outside, Zhou Zhuo's eyes widened as a monstrous figure took shape. A massive, grotesque beast formed, fused from twisted mutant goose flesh. The blood-soaked creature roared, its gaping maw sending chills down spines. With brutal force, it slammed the iron door Zhou Zhuo struggled to hold. The impact rattled Zhou Zhuo's heart sank. His shield wouldn't last long. Suddenly, a violent force flung him backward across the ground. He hit the ground hard, coughing blood as his strength drained fast. Struggling up, Zhou Zhuo spotted Uncle Neo facing the beast alone, stick in hand, unyielding. Uncle Neo's determined gaze urged Zhou Zhuo to take Xiaohuang and flee. He vowed to hold the line, blood smeared, as Zhou Zhuo tried to object. Uncle Neo cut him off sharply, insisting no time could be wasted. Delay meant death. Without hesitation, Zhou Zhuo rose, pulled Neo behind him, promising to bring everyone home. His eyes glowed, one crimson with blood butcher power, the other emerald with life force. Calmly, he faced the charging beast, fusing his twin powers into a fierce, swirling force. This time, Zhou Zhuo felt certain. Victory was within reach. In a heartbeat, he launched into a brutal head-on clash with the monster. His fused powers unleashed a surge stronger than anything he'd known before. One devastating strike shattered the grotesque creature into bloody pieces. As the beast fell, Zhou Zhuo's intertwined powers began to wane. Exhaustion crashed over him like a tidal wave. His body betrayed him, refusing even the smallest movement. Just when he hoped to breathe, a sharp honk echoed down the corridor. Horror struck as another swarm of mutant geese charged in, wild and desperate. Zhou Zhuo fought his limp body, desperate to rise again. Ready to fight again just as disaster seemed inevitable. Suddenly, music blasted through the loudspeakers outside. The mutant geese, mid-attack, froze as the music hit their ears. After a brief pause, they abruptly changed direction, then stampeded away from the building in a frenzy. Huang Tao burst out, breathless and anxious, checking if everyone was okay. Uncle Neo, still stunned, questioned the sudden retreat and the mysterious broadcast. Huang Tao smiled, relieved. His hack had played the feeding time tune to distract the birds. He explained the birds had been trained to rush when they heard that song, lucky it worked, or they'd be done for. With danger past, Zhou Zhuo and the team piled into the car, heading home. In the back seat, Uncle Neo cradled a basket of eggs. Thankfully, some survived the chaos. Huang Tao laughed, wondering when Uncle Neo had managed to sneak all those eggs on board. Uncle Neo grinned, admitting he pocketed a few eggs while Huang Tao was distracted. Huang Tao worried if the eggs might hatch mutant birds, but Uncle Neo assured they were old and safe from infection. Quiet in the truck, Zhou Zhuo stared at his palm, reliving the surge when his powers had combined. Back home, the group assigned roles. Zhao Ming and Huang Tao formed security to patrol and fortify defenses. Zhou Ying and Uncle Neo took on farming, with Zhou Ying's powers promising bountiful crops and livestock. Zhao's mom and Li Qin managed resources, overseeing supplies and planning ahead. Finally, Zhou Zhao and Xiaoping Bing became explorers, scouting and scavenging the area. With duties set, Zhou Zhuo retreated to prepare for their next mission. Determined, he promised no repeat of past mistakes. This time, full preparation was key. While packing, a gentle voice called from behind before he could even turn. Li Qin quietly tugged his shirt's hem. She rested her forehead lightly against his back, and softly begged to join him on the journey ahead. Zhou Zhuo glanced at her, clearly confused. Li Qin's eyes showed fear and desperation, barely able to explain her wish to stay close. She leaned in, quietly sharing about a nearby safe spot stocked with supplies. She insisted they could survive there, just the two of them, until help arrived. Her plea grew urgent, willing to do anything, even abandon the rest. but his cold, unreadable stare stopped her in her tracks, silencing her completely. Without responding, Zhou Zhuo grabbed his bag and moved toward the door. His sharp words cut through the air, accusing her of betrayal and threatening to leave her behind. Li Qin stood stunned, struck silent by his harsh rejection. Zhou Zhuo stepped out, leaving the tension behind. Outside, Xia Bingbing waited silently. Without a word from him, Xia Bingbing quietly asked if they were leaving. Together, they headed to a hidden fish farm far from main roads. Xia Bingbing looked around, frowning at the lonely remote spot. Who could have built this place? Zhou Zhuo shrugged, saying Lin Ji built it, and he just happened to find it. Hearing Lin Ji's name, Xia Bingbing hesitated, then quietly asked about the grudge. Zhou Zhuo laughed softly, recalling school days when Lin Ji flaunted wealth, except Zhou always stood his ground and won. Later, Lin Ji stole Le Xian away and never missed an opportunity to taunt him. Xia Bingbing frowned, murmuring that Lin Ji probably hadn't changed, even humiliating her publicly. Zhou Zhuo shrugged, saying Lin Ji never cared for Le Xian, just wanted to hurt him. The engagement was adult business, no longer his concern. He sighed, explaining adults arranged it all. No dating in school, but straight into marriage pressure after graduation. Xia Bingbing quietly agreed, noting how they rushed into marriage before love ever had a chance. Suddenly, a strange unease crept over Xia Bingbing as she glanced toward the nearby lake. The lake's surface was unnervingly still. Still, a quiet, unsettling feeling settled deep in her bones. Soon after, Zhou Zhuo and Xia Bingbing stumbled upon a secret underground facility. Facing a giant walk-in freezer, Xia Bingbing was surprised by its size and wondered how Zhou Zhuo knew about it. Zhou Zhuo shrugged off the question, though privately he recalled surviving here long ago after the corpse tide hit. Power was out before, but now lights flickered on. Zhou Zhuo wondered if stopping the corpse tide changed the future. Or maybe survivors were still hiding underground. A sudden scream echoed inside the freezer. Zhou Zhuo called out, alarmed. Inside, Xia Bingbing had fallen, trembling but trying to calm herself. She reassured him, nervously pointing ahead. She described a creepy fish head, some strange deep-sea mutant. Suddenly, the fish head twitched. Its eyes glowed an eerie red. Before Xia Bingbing could react, Zhou Zhuo slammed his hand down on the grotesque fish head. His eyes widened. This was no ordinary fish, but a mutant zombie. Shockingly, the creature's head was unscathed by the blow. It opened its jaws slowly, blasting a fierce jet of water. The blast slammed Zhou Zhuo into the freezing wall before he could brace himself. Clenching his teeth, he realized the creature packed the punch of a strong zombie. Seeing him hurt, Xia Bingbing shielded him, voice shaking with concern. Zhou Zhuo pushed himself up, urging escape over direct fight. Just then, the massive freezer door slammed shut by itself. Zhou Zhuo's heart sank, but the door was the last worry. They had to deal with the mutant fish first. Without hesitation, he gripped his blade tighter and charged the beast. His blade slammed down hard against the creature's armored scales. The tough scales barely showed a scratch, shrugging off his strike. Zhou Zhuo quickly backed off, creating some space between himself and the monster. Regaining balance, he gathered his energy, readying for another strike. Fueled by determination, he attacked again. This time, he aimed carefully for a gap in the tough scales, the monster's only vulnerability. He found it, unscaled gills, exposed and vulnerable. Mid-sprint, Zhou Zhuo slipped around to the creature's back. He thrust his blade straight for the unprotected gills. Suddenly, slimy tentacles burst from the gills, snaring his blade instantly. Stunned, Zhou Zhuo realized the tendrils were parasitic mutant worms defending their host. Seizing the moment, the monster struck back with a powerful tail swipe. The blow sent Zhou Zhuo crashing into scattered debris. Dazed and breathless, he slumped helplessly on the floor. The monster loomed, jaws opening to unleash a deadly water blast. In desperation, Zhou Zhuo grabbed a loose power cable nearby. He shoved it into the creature's open mouth. Electricity surged, shocking the beast. The monster froze, stunned instantly. Seizing the chance, Zhou Zhuo struck the killing blow, ending the mutant's reign. Despite victory, Zhou Zhuo felt a heavy truth. This altered world was no accident, and someone was manipulating events from the shadows. Xia Bingbing's worried voice cut through the silence. Zhou Zhuo reassured her calmly, but urged a quick escape. Xia Bingbing twisted the freezer door handle with all her strength. But the heavy door wouldn't budge, stuck tight as a vault. Confused, she called out, puzzled by the stubborn door. Zhou Zhuo's face darkened. Someone had locked them in from the outside. Without pause, he summoned his twin powers, blending destructive blood force with life energy in his right hand. He slammed the door with all his strength, the crash rattling the chamber walls. When the dust cleared, the heavy door remained unscathed. Not a single crack showed up. Zhou Zhuo's brows tightened. This door was tougher than expected, basically a vault. Trapped underground, that door was their only way out, and now their biggest problem. The very thing keeping them trapped became their greatest weakness. Gasping and gritting his teeth, he admitted that was all the power he had left. He glared at the door, frustrated. It wasn't enough, and he needed a breather. Xia Bingbing stepped up, offering to search again while he rested. After some time, she came back, disappointment clear in her lowered head. Sitting beside him, she admitted no other exit was found. Not surprised, Zhou Zhuo knew the freezing cold and thinning air left no room for delay. Knowing time was short, he stood determined, ready to channel his fused powers again. Hesitant, Xiao Bingbing revealed a zombie crystal core, hoping it could awaken powers like his. Zhou Zhuo's eyes widened. This was serious. He grabbed her hand, alarmed by the risk she was about to take. She cut him off firmly, reminding him his powers had limits and time was running out. Looking him in the eye, she proposed a final gamble. Her survival and new power might save them both. Her words shook him. Memories of her past powers stirred doubts about how much had truly changed. After a tense pause, he finally released her hand. He forced a smile, quietly asking if she was ready, knowing his strength alone might not suffice. Xia Bingbing glanced at the crystal, admitting past fear but newfound courage with him by her side. Without delay, she swallowed the crystal core. Nearby, Zhou's father and Jia Ming shouted anxiously, searching blindly for them in the forest. Without knowing their exact location, their search was a desperate shot in the dark. As night fell, the forest darkened and worry deepened on Zhou's father and Ming's faces. Suddenly, a terrifying zombie roar echoed from deep inside the woods. Zhou's father went pale. Surprised zombies appeared already. They were supposed to be night creatures. Ming frowned, sensing something was seriously off. Before they could react, a chilling scream pierced the air. Huang Tao's voice sent Ming's heart racing. Nearby, a shadow lurked behind a tree, silently watching their every step. Inside the ice storage, a faint groan jolted Zhou Zhuo awake. He noticed Xie Bingbing burning up, her face twisted in agony. Alarmed, he hurried over, desperate to understand her sudden fever. Trembling violently, Xie Bingbing struggled to tear off her clothes. She gasped, feeling as if her entire body was aflame and burning unbearably. Without thinking, Zhou pressed frozen eyes to her skin, hoping to cool her raging heat. Minutes later, she wore only her underclothes as the fever slowly faded. Zhou leaned in, voice low and concerned. She nodded, but then admitted she saw zombies everywhere. Zhou forced a smile, urging calm. He knew her awakened perception showed the truth. Rushing out wouldn't be easy. Hesitant, she added she sensed something beneath the floor. Her voice shook as she pointed below. Zombies swarmed beneath them. Zhou's heart tightened. An underground passage might be hidden beneath. After a desperate search, Zhou found a hidden hatch tucked in the freezer's corner. Together they descended the ladder into the cold, dark tunnel below. As they went deeper, a savage zombie roar echoed from the shadows ahead. Zhou turned to Xia Bingbing with a serious look. Darkness swallowed everything, so he'd have to trust her sight. Xia Bingbing looked at herself in disbelief, clearly surprised to be the one counted on. The weight of responsibility hung heavy as she realized all eyes were on her. Zhou gripped his blade, steadied himself, and gave her a confident smile to ease the tension. Trust shining in Zhao's eyes helped Xia Bingbing swallow her fear and nod with determination. She tapped into her new power, reaching out into the dark to sense nearby zombies. One by one, she pinpointed zombie locations, steering Zhou's every move. Blind but guided, Zhou struck with precision, taking down zombies smoothly, thanks to her. Their teamwork clicked perfectly. Quickly, they cleared the tunnel of lurking dangers. Soon, they reached the tunnel's cramped end. They entered a cluttered storage room stuffed with debris. They searched thoroughly but found no exit to the outside. Just as hope faded, Zhou spotted a waterway hinting at a route to the main pond. Without a second thought, they dove into the water, following the hidden path. For a fleeting moment, Xia Bingbing dared to believe safety was within reach. Then, out of nowhere, a giant mutated fish monster struck before she could blink. Its massive jaws snapped shut, trapping her instantly. The beast dragged her down fast. Zhou lunged, gripping her hand, fighting to pull her free. The creature's grip held tight, turning their fight into a desperate tug of war. Feeling the pull, Xia Bingbing knew staying meant dragging Zhao down too. With a sad, determined smile, she locked eyes with him. Shocked and pained, Zhao watched as she freed her hand and sank into the cold darkness. Helpless, Zhou watched her vanish into the watery abyss. Memories flashed. His past self had abandoned her before too. This time, however, things would be different. This time, Zhou vowed silently never to abandon her again. Without a second thought, Zhao surged forward, powering through the water toward the beast. Simultaneously, he triggered his growth ability. Suddenly, thick plants burst up from the lake floor, quickly wrapping around the monstrous fish, binding it tight. The creature struggled but was soon immobilized by writhing vines. Xia Bingbing cracked open her eyes from the beast's jaws, weak but alive. Through murky water, she spotted Zhou swimming frantically in her direction. She tried to call, but darkness pulled her under again. When consciousness returned, the world spun wildly around her. Instinct took over. She sat up, panic rising in her voice. Hearing her, Zhao turned with a faint smile, relief softening his features. Offering food, he joked about skipping local fish, urging her to regain strength. Xia Bingbing murmured thanks quietly, then hesitated before asking her question. She wondered about the giant fish. Her last memory was its approach before darkness. Zhao calmly explained the fish was likely still down there, less scary than the freezer mutant. His tone grew serious, warning the mutated fish threat was spreading globally, unstoppable now. After a pause, she admitted he seemed distant back in school, making connection tough. Yet since the outbreak, he kept risking his life to save her repeatedly. Avoiding her eyes, Zhao admitted his first motive was her power to protect family. Xie Bingbing's smile faltered, sadness slipping into her quiet acceptance. A heavy, awkward silence settled between them. After a moment, Xie Bingbing blushed, softly asking what came next. Zhao caught her gaze, panicked, then quickly looked away, words failing him. Noticing his fluster, she shyly looked away, quietly asking when they'd leave. Zhou steadied himself, confident they could dodge zombies easily thanks to Xie Bingbing's sharp senses and her unique ability. Together, they slipped past every danger, arriving home safe and sound faster than expected. Zhao Ying rushed into Zhao's arms, overwhelmed with relief and worry finally eased. Zhao gave a gentle pat, his smile easing the tension, brushing off the drama. Zhou Ying's smile faded. Her quiet tone hinted at trouble, urging them to follow her immediately. Inside, agonized cries pierced the air. Zhao's father and brother stood silently, worry etched deep on their faces. A heavy knot tightened in Zhao's chest. His gaze landed on Huang Tao, tightly bound to a chair, struggling in pain. Zhao's expression hardened as he demanded answers silently. Jin Ming stepped up, grimly explaining their ambush by a zombie horde while searching for them. With a bitter edge, he confessed their failed attempt to capture a second-tier zombie for a crystal core. Uncle Neo sat silently, his eyes hollow and desperate as they met Zhao's. His voice shook as he asked if Huang Tao still had a chance. Zhao's gaze shifted back to Huang Tao. Huang Tao's bloodshot eyes and bulging veins revealed the virus's grip. No crystal core could save him now, only a monster's fate awaited. As Zhou wrestled with his words, Huang Tao, faintly aware, urged swift mercy to avoid zombification. Zhou lowered his head, hand trembling on his blade's hilt, torn by pain. His thoughts churned with agony and doubt. Just as he braced himself, a sudden unease prickled his senses from behind. Instantly, Zhao activated his powers, spinning to confront the unseen threat. He turned sharply to find his mother trembling, her eyes heavy with pain and conflict. Without missing a beat, he grabbed her arm, pulled her aside, and pulled out a crystal core. Urgency clear, he urged her to take the crystal core immediately. She stared, confused, recognizing the crystal core and questioning its origin. With no time to explain, Zhou urged quick trust, revealing he'd found it at the fish farm. She started to ask more, curiosity written all over her face. Suddenly, Huang Tao's painful growl broke the tense silence. Zhao Ming's urgent voice warned that Huang Tao's time was running out. Zhao froze briefly, muttering a curse under his breath. He knew waiting for his mother's power would be too late. Instinct forced a swift decision. Without hesitation, Zhou raised his blade, ready to end Huang Tao's suffering. Just as the blade came down, an intense energy burst from behind. Alarmed, Zhou spun to see his mother hovering, radiating power. Her form glowed with a pure, holy light that filled the room. A graceful wave of her hand unleashed a miraculous power. A radiant beam shot straight at Huang Tao. The virus inside Huang Tao dissolved and vanished almost instantly. His feral, blood-red eyes cleared, returning to calm and clarity. Huang Tao marveled at his healed body, joy exploding, though no one noticed him. All eyes were glued to Zhao's mother, stunned by the miracle. Shock froze every face in the room. Not only had Zhao's mother awakened a new power, her appearance now radiated vibrant energy. Witnessing her awakening, Zhao finally exhaled in deep relief. He explained her power released pure light that cleansed zombie viruses from the infected. For full zombies, the purification acted like a deadly purge. As for sensing this power awakening, Zhao just trusted his gut. He wasn't exactly sure why either. It felt much like when he sensed his brothers and Engzi's powers before. His sensing ability was growing, but not without limits. Notably, Xie Bingbing's ability stayed out of reach. Zhao could only guess his powers worked within family bloodlines. More awakened relatives meant stronger abilities. Once everyone had left to rest, Zhao quietly approached Xie Bingbing, his tone serious and focused. He urged Bingbing to scan the area and report how many zombies lingered nearby. Bingbing gave a small nod in response. She then unleashed her full sensing power. Her sensing radius stretched steadily wider. Soon, she mapped the zombies' exact locations. Quietly, she reported about 100 near the minefield and another 100 by the hills. Zhou instantly asked if any second-tier zombies were spotted. Bingbing nodded, confirming 3 second-tier zombies. Zhao's mind raced. 3 targets meant each warrior could absorb a crystal core, boosting the family's strength. As Zhao planned, Bingbing gasped. The zombies were moving, nearly all at once. Her urgency rose as she sensed them converging on a single point, pushing her powers further. Bingbing spotted something chilling. A lone human at the horde center. Seeing the face clearly, she froze in disbelief. Linji, the zombies were heading straight for him. Zhao's face darkened. He remembered Linji's death in ashes. Could this really be him? Teeth clenched, Zhao cursed under his breath, realizing Linji had trapped them before. His thoughts clicked. Linji was behind the forest ambush as well. Bingbing's anxious eyes asked silently if they should warn the others and prepare defenses again. After a pause, Zhou said firmly, Linji needed about a day to amass zombies for an attack. His eyes flashed. Better to strike first and catch Lin Ji off guard deep in the forest. Standing tall, Zhao's cold voice cut through the trees, challenging Lin Ji to come out. Nearby, a figure rose from a boulder. Lin Ji, very much alive and ready. Lin Ji sneered, mocking Zhou for walking straight into danger. Zhao kept his calm, flatly noting Lin Ji was the one pretending to be dead before. Lin Ji's face darkened with rage, eyes blazing. He snapped sharply, cutting off any response. Without hesitation, he launched himself forward. Claws gleaming, he swiped fiercely at Zhao. Zhao's eyes sharpened, locking onto the attack. Tilting aside like a shadow, Zhou's blade sliced across Lin Ji's torso. Blood flew, revealing old burn scars. Everything suddenly clicked for Zhou. A cold smirk appeared as Zhou silently confirmed Lin Ji's cowardice, hiding behind scars and tricks. Lin Ji snarled, furious and warning Zhou not to underestimate him. Even wounded, he was dangerous. Before he could finish, a massive explosion erupted behind him, freezing Lin Ji in terror. Zhao sneered, guessing Lin Ji's next move. Reinforcements already intercepted. This time, Lin Ji was truly finished. Nearby, Zhao's father perched on a high branch, surveying the battlefield strewn with defeated zombies. He laughed loudly, claiming surprise was not an option, then unleashed a fiery wrath, reducing zombies to ash. Down below, Zhou's mother stood calm, eyes fixed on the horizon. A fresh wave of zombies crept from the tree line. She wasted no time, unleashing her full purifying force. Holy energy, the undead's natural enemy, flared blue and burned zombies to ashes instantly. Zhao's mother chuckled softly, enjoying how effortlessly her power cleared the undead mess. Zhao's father hugged her proudly, clearly impressed by her strength and confidence. She shrugged him off, focused instead on reporting to Bing Bing that point was clear, then asked for their next move. Bing Bing, already tracking zombie clusters, quickly pointed out another group about a kilometer northwest. The new group counted 24 zombies, a fresh target to tackle. Zhao's mother's voice softened, checking on Bing Bing's safety and status. Bing Bing reassured them, hiding safely near the cellar entrance with guards nearby. She then checked on Zhao Ming, who was working solo, asking if he was holding up. Zhao Ming, confident and cheerful, shrugged off the threat, calling these zombies barely a warm-up. Zhao's father laughed heartily over the earpiece, proud of the ambush that caught the zombies completely off guard. Zhao Ming chuckled, giving credit to Ia Bing Bing's smarts and leadership, officially naming her the team's commander. Xiaoping blushed at the praise, modestly insisting she was only a small part of the success. Lin Ji, weakened and wounded, struggled desperately as Zhao Zhao dominated him without mercy. Stunned, Lin Ji couldn't believe how far ahead Zhou Zhuo had pulled, eyes wide with desperation. Rage bulging, Lin Ji roared defiance, but Zhao just sneered unfazed. Zhou mocked Lin Ji's crushed flanks and suffocated forces, questioning any hope left for him. Zhao's will surged, cold and steady, declaring the fight over for Lin Jie. Lin Ji paused briefly, then snarled through gritted teeth, refusing to quit yet. He admitted defeat, voice rough but resigned. Back at base, Sia's expression tightened as she warned Zhou Zhuo of 3 second-tier zombies approaching fast. Zhao turned just in time to spot 3 massive mutated rat monsters charging full speed. Momentarily caught off guard, Zhou's face darkened with concern. He taunted Lin Ji, unimpressed by the rat mutants as weapons. Lin Ji chuckled darkly, revealing the rats weren't fighters but power sources. Lin Ji plucked crystal cores from the mutant rats' skulls, swallowing them one by one. The next 2 cores went down just as swiftly. Power surged violently through Lin Ji, who smiled darkly as he revealed his true strength to Zhou Zhuo. Zhao stared warily at Lin Ji's fully evolved, monstrous new form. A heavy wave of danger crashed over Zhao in an instant. Without missing a beat, Zhao pushed his abilities to their max. He darted forward, blade gleaming, targeting Lin Ji directly. Lin Ji barely flinched, casually raising a hand to block the strike with ease. Without hesitation, he countered with a brutal palm strike. The blow sent Zhou flying backward through the air. Lin Ji watched Zhao crash down and sneered, clearly unimpressed by his effort. Zhao quickly recovered and punched Lin Ji's chest with all his might, but the blow barely left a mark. Lin Ji chuckled coldly, mocking Zhao's weak punch and daring him to try something stronger. Without hesitation, Lin Ji grabbed Zhao by the head and slammed him down with brutal force. Dust and debris exploded into the air. When the dust settled, Zhao had vanished. Only a wide hole and faint emerald energy marked his spot. Lin Ji blinked, realizing Zhao escaped underground, then his face twisted in fierce anger. Unfazed, Lin Ji vowed to drag Zhao out, break him apart, and annihilate his entire family. Nearby, Zhou emerged from a hollow tree, battered and breathless after exhausting much of his energy. Reflecting on the raw power he'd faced, Zhou shivered, realizing he'd never encountered such overwhelming force before. Teeth clenched, he calculated that even with family help, defeating Lin Ji might be impossible. His gaze steeled. Stopping Lin Ji before he lost control became urgent to avoid disaster. Suddenly, crushing pressure bore down, nearly knocking the breath out of Zhou. Frowning, Zhou instinctively glanced skyward. Where the pure white moon had been, now glowed a blood-red orb, staining the night ominously. Below the blood moon, a brilliant blue wave of light rose slowly from the horizon. Suddenly, a searing crimson beam slammed into the blue wave, sending soul-rattling shockwaves through the air. The deafening blast unleashed a rainbow shockwave that spread outward with terrifying speed. Zhao's eyes narrowed as two shadowy figures emerged inside the spreading halo of chaos. Before Zhao could react, Lin Ji's mocking laughter echoed behind him, warning of dangerous underestimation. Zhao instinctively spun around, only to be struck by Lin Ji's mutated tail, which hurled him violently through the air. Zhao crashed hard into a boulder, the impact shaking the ground beneath him. Exhausted and battered, Zhao struggled to rise, too weak to stand. Lin Ji strolled over, crouched by Zhao, and pressed a mocking finger to his forehead, taunting his failed powers and daring him to give up. Just as Lin Ji readied a final strike, a glowing halo of light suddenly enveloped them both. The light paralyzed them instantly, freezing their bodies as if time itself had paused. Zhao struggled in vain, trapped in a still world where movement was impossible. Then he noticed he could still channel his powers despite being immobile. Gathering energy to his forehead, Zhou unleashed a piercing beam that struck Lin Ji's skull. The halo of light faded away gradually. Lin Ji regained movement, clutching his face and howling in pain. Soon after, Lin Ji fled terrified into the dense forest. Zhou watched the retreating figure vanish among the trees. Exhausted, Zhao collapsed heavily to the ground. Soon Zhao Ming arrived, guided by Xia Bingbing, rushing to Zhou's battered, motionless form. Weakly, Zhao urged to forget him and chase Lin Ji fleeing into the woods. Deep inside, Zhou sensed the world shifting, stranger, more dangerous, with two mysterious high-tier ability users under the blood moon. In his past life, Zhao had been the sole survivor of Qingshan village after the zombie outbreaks. A survivor group once found him. Their leader eyed him coldly and asked about the zombie count in Qingshan. Zhao, weary, answered quietly, "Nearly 1,000 zombies, very dangerous." The team laughed, mocking the number as tiny and calling Zhao a coward. The leader pressed further, inquiring about the strongest zombies' tier and number. Zhao hesitated briefly, then admitted the strongest was a lone 4th-tier zombie. Hearing this, the leader's eyes gleamed. He ordered the team to collar and shackle nearby captives. Zhao returned to find dozens shackled to a dead tree, faces worn with shame and hopelessness. The scene made clear these people were slaves. Anger flared in Zhao's eyes. Refusing this fate, he sprinted into the forest depths. Not far in, a massive surge of energy slammed toward him like a tidal wave. The energy burst into roaring flames, cutting off Zhou Zhuo's path without a chance to slip by. The leader swaggered up, smirking arrogantly, claiming high-tier users were the chosen new race favored by gods. His tone froze as he dismissed Zhou Zhuo as nothing but destined slave labor. Returning to the present, Zhou reached the place where the mysterious blue light had landed yesterday. The ruined land told him one thing: high-tier ability users were behind this chaos. Past life lessons warned him. These elites were monsters in disguise, worse than any zombie threat. Time to get ahead of disaster. He followed the scorched trail deeper into the destruction. A huge crater revealed a towering white crystal, glowing eerily and stealing Zhou's full attention. Approaching the crystal, an odd sensation stirred deep within him. A sudden primal urge to consume the crystal surged uncontrollably. His fingers stretched out, nearly grazing the glowing surface. Alarm bells rang in his mind. Instincts flared, and he leapt back just in time, creating distance. Eyes sharp, he demanded to know who was there. A shadow silently materialized just behind him. The newcomer chuckled, noting Zhao as the lone survivor around here. His glowing fingertips casually hovered near Zhao's neck. He smiled faintly, impressed by Zhao's reflexes and potential. Zhao's cold glare burned, energy crackling. He demanded one last time for the stranger's identity. Unfazed, the man chuckled and introduced himself as Takahashi Kita, a 3rd-tier ability user. Before introductions ended, Zhou charged a punch and struck toward Takahashi's face. Takahashi stayed calm, releasing a faint pulse of power. Space around him warped and rippled strangely. In a flash, Takahashi disappeared from sight. Just as Zhao tensed, Takahashi's voice came from the crystal side, teasing him for overreacting. It was only a joke. Pointing at the crystal, he reassured Zhao his target was only the mysterious original core. Zhou relaxed a bit, still puzzled by the term original core. Takahashi's surprised laugh hinted at the rookie's ignorance. Takahashi sized him up, surprised he didn't know, guessing Zhou came chasing treasure like most rookies. Shaking his head, Takahashi chuckled, labeling Zhao a freshly awakened beginner. No secrets here. Takahashi compared the crystal to a game power-up, a shortcut for leveling up. He casually explained that most users absorb zombie cores to grow, but true advancement requires original cores like this one. Tapping the giant crystal, he drove his point home. A palm-sized shard broke off and floated straight into Zhou's hand. Zhou eyed the shard suspiciously, guessing it wouldn't come without a catch. Takahashi smirked, hinting he might call in favors someday, but for now, Zhou should just level up. As Takahashi faded away, he left a cryptic hint. Gods do exist in this world. Then both Takahashi and the massive core vanished into thin air. Alone now, Zhou froze, Takahashi's ominous words lingering heavy in his mind. He muttered doubts, convinced Takahashi was crazy to talk about gods. He tried hard to reject the idea. Real gods just didn't fit this world's story. But memories from a past life crept in. High-tier users were said to be chosen by gods. His firm disbelief cracked as he wondered if gods might actually be behind this apocalypse. Doubts swirling, faint blue light seeped up through the cracks beneath him. The sudden energy shift made Zhao snap to attention instantly. Frowning, he fixed his gaze on the light source ahead. A blinding blue pillar shot straight up from the crater's center. When the light dimmed, a pulsing blue crystal hovered in the crater's heart. Zhou stared, wondering if the crystal had sprouted from where the original core once lay. Before he could figure it out, the blue crystal shook violently, then launched toward him like a bullet. In a flash, it slammed into Zhao's body before he could even react. Zhou's eyes ignited with fierce blue light as his body convulsed violently, painful cries breaking the silence. Above, clear skies darkened as thick fog rose from all sides, swirling up and hoisting Zhou's body into the air. Meanwhile, deeper in the forest, Zhao Ming and Zhao Ying, still searching desperately, spotted the sudden surge of dense white mist, worry tightening their chests. Zhao Ming's gaze sharpened as he urged silence. Zhao Ying, startled, followed his watchful eyes. Through the thick mist, a faint figure swayed, glowing with a mysterious blue aura. Fear tinged Zhao Ying's voice as she wondered if the figure might be a ghost. Zhao Ming rolled his eyes, dismissing her fear, insisting ghosts weren't real. The eerie figure drifted steadily closer, nearly revealing itself in the thick fog. Then, in a flash, it shimmered and vanished into the swirling mist. Before either could react or approach, a blinding blue beam erupted from deep in the forest, piercing the darkened sky. Zhao Ying grabbed Zhao Ming's arm, breathless, wondering if someone was transcending like in fantasy novels. Zhao Ming's face turned serious as he activated his power, sighing at her comment and warning to trust science, not novels. He headed out, telling her to stay put. Before Zhao Ying could reply, Zhao Ming surged upward, energy crackling, leaping powerfully toward the light source. Snapping back, Zhao Ying's eyes flashed vibrant green. She swiftly controlled a thick vine nearby with her ability. The vine shot upward, lifting her high into the air. Zhao Ying raced after Zhao Ming, Zhao clutching the vine as they sped toward the glowing pillar. Zhao Ming, leading the way, sensed movement behind and came to a sudden stop. Turning, he saw Zhao Ying panting. A chuckle escaped him, dangerous, yet she still followed. Catching her breath, she insisted danger meant they needed more strength together. Suddenly, Zhao Ying's eyes widened. She pointed ahead, signaling something shocking. Zhao Ming followed her gaze to see a massive blue sphere engulfing Zhao Zhao. Zhao Zhao floated inside the sphere, eyes shut tight, pain furrowing his brows. A faintly pulsing blue crystal glowed at his chest. Zhao Ming's expression shifted to alarm as he prepared to break the barrier protecting Zhao Zhao. Summoning all his power, Zhao Ming punched the shimmering barrier with everything he had. The barrier barely flickered, like a pebble causing a ripple, unbroken and unbothered. Zhao Ming frowned, surprised by its deceptive toughness beneath the fragile glow. Suddenly, the crystal in Zhao Zhao's chest cracked, shattering into glowing shards that flowed into him. His eyes snapped open, bright and fierce. A blinding blue light flared from deep inside his gaze. As his energy settled, the chaos around them faded, leaving an eerie calm. Zhao Zhao slowly regained consciousness, prompting Zhao Ying's joyful relief. Zhao Ming grinned, relieved but teasing about the full day. Zhao Zhao had been out cold. Their mother stood stern, scolding Zhao Zhao for running off injured and leaving his radio behind. Zhao Zhao struggled to recall yesterday, memories clouded in an impenetrable fog. Zhao Ying noticed his confusion, recounting how he'd been trapped in the blue orb that shattered mysteriously. Before she finished, Zhao Zhou's eyes narrowed, a faint blue light flaring deep within. A translucent blue interface appeared, displaying profiles with abilities, tiers, and upgrade chances. Zhao Zhou froze, stunned by the unexpected data panel hovering before him. He wondered if it showed Zhou Ying's profile and how he could even access it. Shifting to their mother, the data updated with her profile, purifying light, low advancement chance, and upgrade requirements. Next came Zhao Ming's profile, blood bastion ability, moderate advancement chance, and core requirements. From the data, Zhao Zhao realized original cores were vital for upgrades, but chances were slim and risks unclear. His gaze fell to the single original core clenched in his hand. Taking a deep breath, his resolve hardened. Time was short, and he had to get stronger, no matter what. Lost in thought, Zhou Zhuo snapped back as his father roughly patted his shoulder, urging him to focus. Zhou Zhuo turned with a helpless glance, silently asking what was wrong. Zhao Zhou Yanhao caught Zhou Zhao spacing out, teasing him about his endless daydreaming. Suddenly, a new data panel popped up, revealing Zhao Zhou Yanhao's stats. Midlife male, G-getification ability, 100% awakening chance thanks to some external boost. After a quick look at his dad's stats, Zhao Zhou got up, brushing off sheets, masking his nerves. Seeing everyone's stats felt like having cheat codes in a tough game. Zhao Ying questioned his sudden move, but Zhao Zhao waved it off, claiming he just needed fresh air after lying around too long. He stepped into the courtyard, leaving Zhao Ying watching his retreating figure. Zhao Ying muttered under her breath about how heartless he seemed, especially after all their worry. She laughed softly, reassuring herself that Zhou Zhuo likely needed space for whatever was on his mind. Outside, Xie Bingbing spotted Zhou Zhuo and lit up, inviting him over with freshly made food. After a full day's sleep, hunger hit him hard. Zhou Zhuo smiled, clearly grateful and genuinely hungry. From the balcony, Zhao Ming chuckled, teasing about when Zhou Zhuo managed to charm Bingbing. Zhao Ying rolled her eyes, unsurprised, recalling how obvious it was after their recent night together. Their dad appeared, teasing Zhao Ming to hurry up since Zhou Zhuo already scored a girlfriend while he was still single. Zhou Ying jumped in, teasing Zhao Ming for only ever bringing his bros home, never a girlfriend in sight. After eating, Zhou Zhuo wiped his mouth and asked quietly if there were any updates on Lin Ji, or if he was still detectable. Xie Bingbing shook her head softly, confirming Lin Ji was beyond detection, even after Zhao Ming's search. Zhou Zhuo frowned deeply, sinking into serious thought upon hearing the news. He recalled how Lin Ji was once insignificant, but now posed a real threat, forcing Zhou Zhuo to stay on high alert. Noticing his gloom, Xie Bingbing moved closer, whispering that the constant frowning was unusual for him. She reminded him how, during the outbreak's start, he stayed calm while others panicked, guiding them through crisis after crisis. She admitted she believed he could handle anything, making others feel safe, though one person can only do so much. She urged him not to carry burdens alone, and reminded him they were family, ready to help if needed. Zhou Zhuo smiled lightly, teasing about the word family. Xie Bingbing blushed deeply, flustered as she hurried to clarify her meaning about being family. Amused by her flustered reaction, Zhou Zhuo felt a warm glow in his chest. Chuckling softly, he called up to the three watching from the balcony to come join him. On the balcony, Zhao Jinhao, Zhou Ming, and Zhao Ying shared awkward looks after being caught off guard. Zhou Zhuo laid out his encounter with a Tier 3 user, revealing secrets of ability upgrades and original cores. Recognizing the threat, they agreed to leave the village to find supplies and prepare for the chaos ahead. From the back seat, Zhang chimed in, hopeful about not being alone in survival. Zhou Zhuo lowered his gaze silently, not sharing the optimism. Beside him, Mother Xi tensed, warning that in apocalypse, people often fail tests peace never gave them. She added that desperate humans can be scarier than zombies, maybe worse. Zhou Zhuo lifted his head, determination clear, sticking together was the only way. Plans formed quickly. Train harder, stockpile weapons, defend fiercely. Zhejiang laughed, confident no fool would dare cross them. They stopped near the old fishery. Zhejiang eyed the ruins skeptically, questioning if gunpowder was really inside. Zhejiang nodded with confidence, sure of what awaited. He hinted at more than just gunpowder hidden inside. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocked the air, fireball lighting up the sky from the fishery. Zhou Zhuo froze, eyes wide and jaw dropped, stunned by the blast. As smoke cleared, a heavily armed group stepped out from the ruined fishery. Zhao Ming narrowed his eyes, tense at the sight of the armed men. Questions raced. How did these guys find the fishery so fast? Zhang guessed calmly they were likely linked to Lin Ji's weapons smuggling. Everyone looked to Zhou Zhuo, puzzled by the new information. Zhou Zhuo explained the gate was locked before, so blowing it up meant insiders had leaked the stash's location. Zhou Ying clenched her fists, frustrated they reached the supplies first. Zhao's offered a faint smile, hinting it wasn't hopeless yet. Zhao Ming's worry was clear, taking on armed men head-on sounded reckless. Zhou Zhuo stayed quiet, turning to Summer Bingbing to ask about lingering zombie threats beneath the fishery. Summer Bingbing nodded slightly, acknowledging the question's weight. Closing her eyes, she extended her sensing power toward the fishery. Moments later, her eyes reopened, scan complete. She confirmed 52 zombies inside, mostly regular, with 6 likely Tier 2 core carriers. Her expression darkened, noting one giant zombie with a black crystal embedded in its head. Zhao Zhuo's eyes narrowed. The description matched a Tier 3 zombie. He assessed the cramped underground space, guessing guns would be useless, and the Tier 3 made clearing impossible. A smirk appeared, better to let enemies tire each other out first. Zhao Ying's eyes sparkled with excitement. She rubbed her hands, eager to watch the chaos unfold before swooping in. Suddenly, Zhao Ming raised a hand quietly, signaling an incoming presence. Zhou Zhuo tensed instantly, senses sharpening. He tracked Zhao Ming's gaze ahead. A crouched figure appeared, gun ready, scanning their way. Zhou Zhuo barked a quick warning to take cover. Gunfire rained down, forcing them low. Staying calm, Zhou Zhuo ordered a split maneuver. Zhao Ming confirmed, planning to lure the enemy while Zhou Zhuo flanked from below. Zhou Zhuo nodded and quickly circled around the target. The enemy caught the movement and reacted fast. He vaulted over a barrier trying to escape into the woods. Landing barely settled, Zhao Zhuo was already there, silent as a shadow. Before he could react, Zhou Zhuo's palm connected hard with his forehead. The man spun through the air with a dull thud. He crashed down, knocked out cold. Zhou Zhuo glanced at the downed enemy, coolly noting the job was done. Plans formed quickly to haul the enemy for some much-needed intel. Suddenly, Zhao Ming's urgent shout cut through the air, warning of danger. Before the words finished, an explosion thundered where Zhou Zhuo had been. Smoke cleared to reveal a crater marking his near-miss spot. The captured enemy was reduced to just a severed arm. Quick reflexes saved Zhou Zhuo as he dove behind a tree just in time. Stunned, he spotted a hot marble smoldering at the blast's core. From cover, Zhou Ming warned of an ability user in play. A sharp whistle sliced through the forest's tension. Zhou Zhuo glanced up, marbles hurtling toward him from all sides. The tree shielding him shattered under the force. A marble grazed his hand, leaving a thin line of blood. Zhou Ming's voice tightened with worry, checking in on Zhou Zhuo. Zhou Zhuo shrugged off the scrape but questioned the source of the attack. Zhou Ming grimly noted the marbles came from all sides, ricocheting off trees like a deadly pinball game. Zhou Zhuo frowned, then Zhou Ming confirmed the chaotic ricochets were like forest pinball, except the trees acted as bumpers, and the jackpot was a hit to them. Before he finished, more marbles sliced through the air. Zhou Zhuo realized hiding was useless. The attacker tracked their every move. Yet accuracy at distance didn't add up. Something felt off. That level of tracking meant the shooter was likely close, or maybe an ally with powers was guiding the attack. After Zhou Zhuo finished clearing hidden zombies, tension briefly eased. Zhou Ming exhaled relief, then frowned, noticing the sudden stop in marble attacks. The silence confirmed Zhou Ming's suspicion. A zombie had been spying on them. Zhou Ming's expression shifted, realizing there might be 2 ability users involved. Zhou Zhuo stayed cautious, suspecting the number could be even higher. From the roadside, Zhou Ying's urgent voice urged them to get moving fast. The fishery group was on the move, clearly having spotted them. Zhou Zhuo and Zhou Ming instantly tensed at the warning. Zhou Zhuo steadied himself, deciding retreat was the smarter move against unknown odds. Far away, a blond man cursed bitterly over letting the target slip. He shot a glare at his heavy-set partner, annoyed over the shared vision cutoff. The so-called fathead, lazily applying lipstick, shrugged off the blame, citing their scout's demise. He teased with a playful glance, admitting those 2 civilians were surprisingly capable. Fathead grumbled about killing the clansman. The blonde dismissed it, treating human losses like collateral damage. An old bald man approached with a sharp glare, putting an end to the banter. His harsh voice ordered them to move. Time to finish the job inside the freezer. Back at Zhou Zhuo's house, tension remained thick in the air. The family wiped all tire tracks, determined to avoid leaving any trail. Zhou Ying worried over the gunfire but reckoned the enemies wouldn't act immediately. The priority remained the fisheries supplies. No extra fights made sense yet. Zhou Zhuo's tone dropped cold. Once control was theirs, the family would be next target. Dread settled like a fog, thick and suffocating, across the family. Zhou Ying forced a hopeful smile, joking maybe the zombies and explosives would do the dirty work first. She tried to keep spirits up, imagining that would be a lucky break. Zhou Ming frowned, darkening the mood. Ability users meant guns weren't necessary to clear zombies. Zhou Ying's smile faltered, quietly asking what to do next. Zhou Ma finally broke the silence, vowing to fight to the death. Zhou Ba slammed his hand down, promising a fiery welcome to threats. Turning to Zhou Ying, Zhou Ba grinned, plotting more explosives. Zhou Ying's eyes sparkled with fierce excitement. Zhou Zhuo watched quietly, the fire in his family's eyes only adding to the heaviness in his chest. The timeline had changed. Last time, the village stayed hidden for months. Now, barely a week. No question, these weren't amateurs. Their moves screamed mercenary. They had the edge in both firepower and brains. Letting them grab explosives and zombie cores, that would be a death wish. Jumping in too early could backfire too. Just as doubt tightened its grip, a gentle hand eased onto his. Xie Bingbin's soft smile offered a quiet reminder some battles weren't fought alone. A sudden crackle jolted the air, Huang Tao's voice breaking through the walkie with urgency. Zhou Zhuo snapped to attention, grabbing the walkie and responding without hesitation. On the line, Huang Tao spilled the news. Something had gone sideways at the hardware store. They'd found someone breathing, barely. Zhou Zhuo's instincts flared. His reaction was immediate. Eyes sharp, voice sharper. The response was ice-cold and quick. Restrain first, ask later. Confusion crackled back through the line, but Zhou Zhuo didn't slow down. He skipped the briefing. Orders were clear. Trust came later. Zhou Zhuo was already gone, leaving the house under guard as he made a beeline out. His thoughts sprinted alongside him, too fast, too soon. The enemy was already sniffing around. His focus locked in like a trigger. This scout wasn't walking out. He arrived at the hardware store, tension riding shotgun. Li Qin lit up, ready to share a win. Zhou Zhuo brushed past her, mission first. A quick nod was all she got. He had no time for celebrations. She stayed behind, her smile faltering as thoughts tumbled behind her eyes. Inside, Zhou Zhuo wasted no time, his gaze cutting straight to the point. Huang Tao gestured to the corner, package secured, not moving. Zhou Zhuo approached, eyes scanning every detail like a silent lie detector. Something didn't fit. The guy looked more lost than lethal. Zhou Zhuo lifted the man's head and immediately froze. Something about the face knocked the wind out of him. His face contorted in disbelief. That face, it was Takahashi. Just then, the man's eyelids fluttered open, blinking into the light. The ropes around him registered quickly. So did the rising panic. He kicked off the panic with full-volume thrashing and yelling. No time for chit-chat. He blinked out of existence before anyone could say a word. Zhou Zhuo tried to calm the air, reminding the empty space they'd met. A rift snapped open. He reappeared behind Li Qin, hostage in hand, tension skyrocketing. His voice cracked with panic, throwing threats like a cornered animal. Huang Tao raised his hands high, classic peacekeeping mode activated. Gao stayed wired tight, eyes wild, clearly not buying the friendly act. Tension thickened until Zhou Zhuo stepped forward, his voice cool as ice. Zhou Zhuo's words hit like a slap. Gao froze, bluff caught midair. Zhou Zhuo laid it out. If either side meant harm, they wouldn't be having this chat. Gao's grip eased. Confusion took over anger. He needed answers. Zhou Zhuo shrugged. Standard home invasion protocol, really. The logic sank in. Gao muttered something about them maybe not being villains. Zhou Zhuo raised a brow, throwing the question right back. After a beat, Gao let go. His grand demand? Beef noodles. Later, everyone watched in disbelief as Takahashi inhaled noodles like a man possessed. The room was quiet enough to hear a dumpling drop. Zhao Ming side-eyed the noodle slayer, whispering doubts. Zhou Zhuo just nodded grimly. Zhou Ming scrunched her face, muttering about freeloaders and false first impressions. Zhou Zhuo squinted. This guy was off. No recognition, no presence, just hunger. Time to scan for answers. A glowing data sheet spilled the truth. Low-tier teleporter, high maintenance, suspiciously misplaced potential. Zhou Zhuo's suspicions flared. Either Gao was lying about his powers or had a memory hole big enough to misplace a few power levels. Takahashi leaned back, face glowing, stomach full, finally satisfied after demolishing several bowls of noodles. Beaming like a man reborn, he credited his survival to their hospitality. Judge didn't bother with pleasantries. Time to talk, not thank. Takahashi blinked, caught mid-bliss, clearly missing the interrogation vibes. The glare said it all. How'd he even end up in their village? He fumbled through his explanation. Teleportation, panic, and a leap of faith. Zhou Zhuo's brow creased. Zombies were involved? Takahashi nodded like a bobblehead, wondering why no one flinched at the word teleport. Brushing past the drama, Zhou Zhuo zeroed in. He was from the city then. Another firm nod, this time with more weight. Zhao Ming jumped on the thread. What's the city's status? Military? Zombie situation? The brightness drained from Takahashi's face as bad memories clawed their way up. Day one was a disaster, screams, stampedes, and chaos at every corner. He'd spent the night buried in trash, praying the horror would pass. Hope had whispered promises that rescue would come with daylight. Morning came, help didn't. The city was already gone. Some clung to hope, others checked out early. Not everyone stayed for the second act, some bowed out quietly. Silence thickened. Zhou Zhuo cut through it, steering things back on track. Just before hitting rock bottom, Takahashi got a mysterious text. He flashed his phone like a plot twist, showing them the message. Zhou Zhuo's eyes narrowed. The words were chillingly familiar. The message wasn't just strange, it was early, way too early. Last time, powers took a month to show. This rewrote the timeline completely. A jolt of realization hit Zhou Zhuo. What if someone else here had respawned with memories too? Zhao Ming latched onto a detail. People in the city already knew about zombie cores. Gao Qiaobei blinked, surprised they were in on the zombie core secret too. Zhao Ying folded her arms smugly. They didn't just find cores, they dined on them. Takahashi gawked. Eating cores? They're all awakened powers, had they? A chorus of proud grins said it all. Yep, powered up and not shy about it. Takahashi stared with barely hidden envy. His old team hadn't been nearly so lucky. He shared his tale. By day 3, he'd joined a massive, desperate survivor group. Their days blurred into scavenging missions and zombie hunts. 2 days in, 5 cores were found. The top 5 took them, hoping for powers. Only 1 walked away human. The rest mutated and were quickly taken out. Day 4 turned brutal. The captain went full warlord, raids and ability duels everywhere. Things spiraled. Cores were forced down throats, Takahashi included. Most didn't make it. Those who did were dragged into the bloodbath. He finally bolted, chased by a zombie swarm, just in time for his powers to kick in. Zhou Ming scowled at the chaos. Zhang shuddered, suddenly grateful for village life. Gao eagerly agreed. This place was practically paradise. Honestly, what more could anyone want? Safety, snacks, and no superpowered civil war. He smacked his knee. Decision made. This village was his forever home now. Zhou Zhuo calmly popped the bubble. Cozy times weren't guaranteed. Takahashi blinked, caught between meal satisfaction and mild dread. Zhou Zhuo laid it out. Comfort came with responsibility, and slacking wasn't on the menu. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button until explosion. See you on the next video.